that thing launches. Oh yeah, we're on. No problems now. Seems like that thing's working. Yeah, so interesting, right?
Yeah. Yeah, do we need to... Is it 4?
No.
Nope.
It's different now because of that
okay.
broken thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is November 20th, 2023. We're talking about... So tell me, Shannon, what's going on?
Well, it's of note in world politics and conditions of things that we've been talking about the lane for our product, which is Renegade Roach and the music and the communication of the whole thing.
Check it out.
Judson, is that good? I can't tell what angle we're. It's so much darker, which I don't know why it is.
It's on. Do I need to fire up a light?
Well, yeah, not necessarily because I don't want our vibe to get blown.
And maybe just because we're going to be working for a minute, I'm going to bring this chair over here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And so I had this. We have Last Man Standing on cue to go into FIFA at some point on an update.
Which I think that deserves a fist bump, right?
Yeah, right. Which is all based around soccer, and I had this strange. We've had a lot of communications from the cosmos, if you will. And so I had this. I told Judd one night I was in this astral plane, sort of half aware, and I felt a word trying to come to me, and I really fought to get clarity on it without trying to interrupt it, and I didn't want to forget. So it was the word abriata, which I don't know what it was. Doesn't matter. Looked it up. It's a surname from South America, particularly in Argentina, and so we've been thinking soccer. Messi plays. I don't know things about this, but dot to dot to dot. There's that idea there, and then today, as a matter of world news, looks like Argentina just elected their version of Trump. Which is, people abuse that idea because they're trying to discredit a certain, it's just populism, right? They're trying to brand it as other things, racism, and it's like, well, no, it's tribalism, it's more localized, less global, which I just think globalism is a farce because it's...
Yeah, it is a total fail. I think the nations are rising up against the globalist handlers.
Yeah, it's just the failed. No one in and I'm not that down on world affairs and politics, and I don't know anything about Argentina, but I know the human condition overwhelmingly does not want to be socialized and communized. People want to be free, and you can try to bitch slap everything that looks like it's trying for its own autonomy and use Trump as a 4-letter word, but it continues to rear its head.
People want sovereignty, and nations
autonomy.
want sovereignty.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is going on. And so when it comes to what we're doing in here, and we're talking about making songs that have the biggest ideas, I think we probably want to address that.
Yeah, well, there's no question that there's some wag the dog going on in our culture where the vast majority of people do not accept the social engineering programs that are going on. I mean, like 90 to the 80th, 90 percentile people, even if they do indulge certain what I would consider rogue ideas, it's not that fucking important to them. They don't wake up in the morning. If you poll them, and most people that get polled, they're afraid of who's going to know, so they don't tell the truth.
That's right.
So anyhow, yeah. So we're just getting more messages from the universe that stay the course. We're saying things in our music that need to be said in a groovy, fun way. Makes people feel like they have something they can hang their hat on. Somebody that can say their piece for them in a way they can't. And all these other things just continue to point to the reality that individualism, man, autonomy. Call it what you want. Even they turn the term populism into some Hitler-laden word. They're just assaulting language constantly. It's like, well, you want to call it this, I just call it, hey, mind your own fucking business and to each their own.
Yeah,
You know,
and
I
that
mean,
it's funny they do effectively or have effectively used Hitler for that to suppress it. But the truth of that is that I believe Hitler was sort of a maniacal imperialist. I don't think
right,
he wasn't a don't tread on me.
right.
So it's really kind of a moot point, you know.
Hmm.
The United States was developed out of don't tread on me and sovereignty. That it's like, look, we're managing our affairs here.
Yeah, and when they want to prop the United States up as some bastion that the world looks to, mostly they don't, from my experience. But when they do, it's that American individualism that they're talking about. It's not the advancement of democracy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
right. It's not that.
It's not that.
Yeah, that's right.
It's that, radical individualism, not that corporate globalism.
That's right. And that's funny that they do try to talk about that advancement of democracy, but really, what's always appealed to people the most about America is individual freedom.
Yeah, free
and that's why people
thinkers,
came
man.
over here.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, I want to start my business.
Yeah,
Get out of my way.
Yeah, and if there's anything where the stock is trading low globally, I don't think the world likes to see that nation subjugating its people and attacking autonomy and free speech
Not
at every
all.
turn.
Not at
you
all.
know?
Not at all.
So anyway, that's enough of that.
But yeah, I think that and I think our song "Last Man Standing" has some of those big ideas in it.
And that's why I say that song doesn't have a shelf life.
No.
It's just getting started, and I do believe it will be a anthemic, because it feels like it.
I believe so too.
It feels like it communicates.
I believe so too. I believe it's working for us. So probably we just want to get the next few songs we work on to have those big enough ideas to justify their existence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. And this one, when we were talking about that first person thing, which can be hard to write and make it feel like it reaches out. You need things that reach out, and let the listener feel like they're a part of it. Well, the way you do that is it's kind of like the mechanics of saying things that someone else wants to hear but can't say. That brings them into you.
Yeah.
Right.
And another thing that I think. Bringing up Argentina, what just happened in Argentina, our connection to the soccer world.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we're talking about South Carolina, and in a certain way we're using that kakalaki as a slang term for the Carolinas,
Mm-hmm.
we want to make the ideas relevant enough to where it wouldn't just resonate with like the Oliver Anthony crowd. I mean,
Sure.
it needs to be able to. Somebody in Argentina needs to be able to hear it,
Right.
and if they speak English,
They can feel it.
yeah, or even
Mm-hmm.
if it got translated,
Mm-hmm.
that they would. It's not like a niche thing.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Agreed. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. When we talk about these things, I was thinking about that yesterday.
It can't be niche on this.
Yeah, we have to speak when we are creating things from the social commentary. It has to be able to reach across
The world.
Yeah. And so you pick the things and these things some of this sanity is under attack.
Yeah.
Around the world, like
Yeah.
they're trying to push like, oh, that thing that you see, that's not real, that's not there. Next.
That's right, and so when we do get, because kakalaki is a real specific detail, and nobody across the pond would know what that is.
Somehow it feels British though to me.
But it is. No, it is British. But I mean, in the literal sense, not the feel of it, but in the literal sense,
Mm-hmm.
it would be like, I mean, I'm sure people listen to Johnny Cash, but they wouldn't necessarily know what Folsom Prison is.
Right.
But what they would know is the idea of being in jail, in a certain system.
Mm-hmm.
And I think anybody around the world could relate to the storyline.
Mm-hmm.
So we may have to make sure that even if we're using a specific detail like kakalaki,
Mm-hmm.
that the storyline doesn't just, it can't just be like referential.
Yeah, Seneca can't be all around.
It just can't, what I mean?
Uh-huh.
It's okay to use those details, but
Mhm.
only in as much as that it propels a story. Like I say, Argentina, no one would know where Folsom Prison is,
Yeah.
but they would understand the idea of a convict who's fucked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Or Sweet Home Alabama.
Right. Right. Why does that word?
Because that gets played in England.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was living in England, I heard "Sweet Home Alabama" all the time.
Yeah.
But probably a lot of those people don't give two fucks about Alabama, or they don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But there's enough in there about kith and kin,
Mm-hmm.
my home. Like people relate.
Yeah.
To the storyline.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess it's just about finding out who this character is and what is the conflict he's up against.
Yeah, okay. I hadn't thought about it from that perspective. What's
his conflict?
His conflict. Huh.
Because every good story has a conflict, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't want to get too bogged into one way of thinking, but it's just, is it nobody's listening, or is it why do I got to put up with this shit, or is it, what's his conflict? Well, I liked where you were coming from the other day with the first verse, kind of opening on this scene in a cankered sort of relationship, kind of haplessly, or he's not hapless, but the only available options are hapless.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Like his woman is got a stinky yoga mat because that's like, a prevailing issue. Can't get around it.
It's kind of like the only available options are. How would you describe them? Like less than, or sort of hapless, or the options themselves are hapless.
Yeah, the options themselves are. Yeah. Yeah, just the prevalence of you can't defeat. It's like the prevalence of it's not on you if you can't find a decent partner when every partner's being brainwashed into being this dudded out
thing. Is that a big enough story for the world?
Not
or do we need to take a step back and try to rewrite?
Well, we're just kind of grabbing the pages, I guess.
I think there's something to. I do think there's something to that. I do think. Well, that was even a theme in. That's been a theme in dystopian novels, isn't it? Like a guy who does have some clarity, but because there's nothing to hang his hat on.
Right. Where there's nothing.
And it kind of just creates a rough state for the character, and it almost makes them worse than they are because there's just nothing.
It won't do.
1984 is a little bit like that, isn't it? That guy Winston, He is a smart guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
To an extent.
Mm-hmm.
But there is something, he does submit himself to a certain hapless nature, but it's not really his fault. I don't get the impression that Orwell wants us to think it's his fault, do you?
No. So, if there's a way where that opening, if it sticks, let's just talk about that one story at a time. The guy, I'm thinking, well, I guess would it be even necessary, that representation of what was it? What would you say about something, the stinky yoga mat? What was it? I guess I'm going to turn this thing back on real quick because I had changed.
Oh, are we not on?
No, we're on.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to turn the track back up.
Yeah, turn it up. I do have to take a pee.
Yep.
And let's keep on this. Yeah.
Yep.
Logical gallantry.
Yeah, that's good. That's,
Logical gallantry. You're gonna live on venom. I went on a racetrack. I was following.
where is that other
Well, one thing that people would connect with across the pond, or across the world, I should say, not across the pond, is the idea of chivalry.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that Kakalaki represents, is a certain type of undying chivalry, right?
Yeah.
And that is something people resonate with globally.
Yeah. I'm trying to find that one particular way you talked about that yoga mat thing. I thought.
That is good. Nobody wants to admit it. Nothing new under the sun.
Oh, that's a good opener too.
Nothing new under the sun. New under the sun, yeah. Should I be writing these down, like the best lines?
Maybe so. I'm gonna write them down too. But as far as like the nature of an opening idea, just the opening idea feeling like something that's already in motion. Like,
Yeah.
Like you're like that. Doesn't that do that as well?
Yes.
Nothing new under the sun.
It does.
It feels like you're walking into something that's already started.
That's right. You quite literally are,
Mm-hmm.
because it's already been here before.
Mm-hmm.
We've been here before. I got a hotel. They tried to send me pennies. I got. Tried to show your panties too.
W2, right? Oh, yeah, that's the one talking about trying to get hired.
Let him eat cake.
Oh, yeah.
Let 'em eat
Oh,
cake.
maybe that was that one.
So many women in my life.
Let's see. Maybe it's on these loops. Where are they? Oh, okay, because that's a duplicate, maybe. No. The matching alternative, yeah. I don't know, I want to find that one yoga mat thing.
Nothing new under
Ask it again.
the
Maybe I wrote it down.
It's somewhere in the books. For all the attempts at organization,
It just won't do. I just pulled up one that says the gates of fail.
well, that seems like similar to this, doesn't
It
it?
is the gates, staring at the gates of fail.
You can't defeat defeat.
Yeah,
Well, that what's funny about that is that that's like a funny. That's almost seems like a Southernism a little bit.
yeah, the gates of fail. We were taking that thing deep the other day too, because we were talking about Bill Gates.
Yeah, that's a good line.
You know, staring at the gates of fail.
I wonder if this song would be one that you would potentially use. You can't defeat defeat. Maybe. That does seem like a global idea.
It is.
You know,
Yeah.
I always heard that as a repeat, not in the sequence, almost like as things were
Oh yeah, you can't.
transitioning, like
Uh-huh.
you can't defeat defeat,
Mhm.
like
Can't defeat.
as a repeat, not so much
Just a
in the
one line.
stanza.
Yeah.
You know, almost like when the instrumental things are happening.
Yeah.
It could just kind of be like, you can't defeat defeat.
Yeah, it's a bigger idea than just maybe loading it in one spot.
Yeah. It does seem connected to populism and
Yeah.
like what's going on in the world today.
Mhm.
Feels like the peg. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it truly is. It's like in a democracy, you can't defeat socialism once it once
It's
it
like
has
a
numbers.
disease.
Yeah, once it has numbers, once the idea takes off,
You can't defeat defeat.
the people that go, well, it's just that it's the welfare state, but in a broader sense. Like I told you, it happened during, I think, Obama's first term. It's just the timeline of it happening. It was the first time in history where there was more people receiving a check from the federal government than sending one in.
Right, that's right.
And that's essentially what that is. You can't defeat.
That's right.
Because if you're defeated and you got a handout and you outnumber everyone else in a democracy, you're done.
So really, the only way
you can't defeat.
I'm just trying to think. Well, how could humans progress? Really, you just kind of have to let the thing
burn to the ground.
Yeah, and then start anew. Mm-hmm. So is that the only hope, sort of?
It's happening here. It's why people are leaving certain states and going to others. And the problem's going to be is that the problem already is other people can't afford to move. You know.
Right.
When they'll just be left in there.
Russia did survive something like. I mean. They survived it. It just had to. I guess like when Gorbachev said it's over, like it was pretty much there was just nothing more. It collapsed, right?
Yeah.
So that's how you defeat it in quotes. Mm-hmm. You can't defeat it. It just has to.
It just dies. I mean, I've got pictures somewhere on my phone from the first time I went to Europe. We're staying in these hotels, and it was fascinating because we were in one hotel and across the street, for as far as you could see, were blocks of. It would have looked like maybe like a Westin type hotel at one point in time.
Yeah.
But it was overgrown with vegetation.
Yeah.
There were like balconies that were knocked out with plywood over the glass. Mm-hmm. But people were living in these shut down giant
ghettos.
But it was like but the remnants of prosperous economy.
That's right.
You know, but it collapsed under the weight of its own. You can't do that. You can't do.
And so like you can't defeat. No, that's you illustrate. No, you can't. Yeah, you can't defeat because when defeat outnumbers productivity, it's over, right? I mean that is what and the founding fathers said that too, right? If the public ever figures out how to vote their own
entitlements from the public coffers,
the republic is done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's happened.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe that you're just seeing. Yeah, they're gonna monkey with everything they can to try to
fix it,
change the nature of money and change the
But it won't work.
It won't work. There'll be places that are solvent and thriving, and places that are failed. You know.
Luckily, we live here, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could be a hell of a lot fucking worse.
Oh yeah, yeah. But I don't believe there's any fixing it. None.
Oh no.
You know, they're going to try things like universal income and things like that.
It won't work.
It won't work. It won't work. You can't. It won't work. You know. At some point, someone has to do something.
You can't defeat.
So yeah. I don't know why I can't find that.
Well, I don't know how important it is. You know?
It was but
it is
there
a great
was something about ecstasy, like a girlfriend's on ecstasy. And
let me. Maybe I have it.
And a stinky yoga mat.
And a pill of ecstasy and an unwashed yoga mat.
Unwashed yoga mat. That's what it was.
An unwashed yoga mat.
And yeah. That's. I don't know if you know, but. That's painting a very clear picture to reference what we were talking about earlier.
It is. But I'm kind of with you, man. Like I think this song, I don't think it can't be so niche. It does have to live more in that
the world.
I think the last man standing territory.
Yeah.
Which, you could I question, well, am I already at a disadvantage because you're introducing something no one would know what Kakalaki was, or you already.
That one works because it just sounds fun, and it also is troublingly close to the sound of cracker-lacking.
So it kind of works.
Because and
if you can present these ideas like the big ideas that sort of like Kakalaki could represent, or a Kakalakian could represent, and present ones that would be relevant to the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
then you're good, right?
Mhm.
That's all you have to do.
So, yeah, so as pictures come to me like cackalack and crazy, it's like, well, okay. So to me, that's if you're thinking inside the Southern, it's like it's the lone
wolf, right?
the lone voice of it's sort of it's not just the it's still the last man standing.
That's what I'm saying. And quite literally, they were.
Yeah. And so that's a universal idea.
It is.
You know. I'm the last one left. You know.
Lone voice of. I just put lone voice of sovereignty, chivalry, and individualism.
Lone voice of chivalry stuck out to me.
That's the most important point, right?
Uh-huh.
I think.
And it'll sing actually. Lone voice of chivalry. You know, like some of this stuff may go in and out of free phrasing and phrasing. I don't know.
You mind if I try one?
No, that's what they're for. All it did was make my stomach burn worse.
That didn't help, did it?
I might need a couple of these crackers.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Chivalry is the most important thing of what I said there.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is a global idea, but it's most concentrated in the Southern viewpoint.
Yeah.
Because that's what a lot of Gone with the Wind deals with.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in Charleston.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This thing says used by yesterday.
You'll be alright.
I want to give it a quick. You want me to put some on the plate for you?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Have the same experience.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I was gonna have something in my stomach. Nice.
You think it's a stress ulcer? 'Cause that can happen.
I think it burnt. Well, it could be that, and I definitely think that'll leave. Oh yeah, I'll leave that one time. Oh yeah.
That's good.
There we go. Start there.
Yeah, it could be. I know. I've just heard of people having.
Oh yeah, it's just bad. It's right here. It happened. I took it from my knees and I took it on an empty stomach, but it probably all of the above. Yeah, that's fine. I don't taste any rot.
That's fine, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Aren't those expiration dates usually fairly conservative
Yeah, they.
to cover their ass a bit?
And if you leave it out, we've kept it refrigerated, so. Unlike right now. I don't think I'd eat it tomorrow though.
Well, do you feel like right now we're sitting in the chair like that? I mean, like is this a good chair to be in? Talking about like feet, boards under feet. Is this a good place to be?
Well, I mean, as long as you're feeling like we can. But this is how we did the things that you feel good about. Like we did heavy lifting, not heavy lifting. We just spent
Thorough work.
in a certain amount of time on conceptualizing for those verses.
And I'm not sure we can rush through it.
But it wasn't that long. I mean,
No.
Well, because we've already done the big thing.
I don't think we can skip it though.
The big idea is there. And the sound of it. To me, the sound of this track, well, we'll get some percussion in there, but it feels bigger than Last Man Standing to me. Just the riff, whoop, whoop, and your guitar, that goes down. You know what I mean?
So the lyrics just have to live there in the big place.
Yeah. But I think it's a better chorus, potentially. Crack like a crazy. Ready for love. And we got some of those early, like, I think the use of that Rolling Stone is a good idea.
Like a Rolling Stone, man.
But you could maybe you could open that thing up and go, something, don't. You know what I mean? Like you could maybe add to the Rolling Stone in a way that makes it more belong to you a little more.
I think that line's real important though.
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you something, man, if I have it. And I don't do this to brag or anything. It's just an interesting thing if I can find it. Let me see. Well, I don't know that I can, but I was on Instagram the other day, and there was a long shot of a man in like a paisley jacket, like I had, playing acoustic guitar, and I just thought, who the fuck has posted a video of me playing? I looked at it, I said, somebody has found some random video of me and has posted it to social media. And it was Mick Jagger.
Oh,
I thought I was Mick. I mean,
Yeah.
there's something in his posture, actually, like when he sits with a guitar.
Yeah.
It's so weird, dude.
Mm-hmm. No,
It must be in the genetics. I think it's in the genetics.
I've said it from day one.
But it's very strange because I don't really look like him.
No, but the build is the
Well, something about how he was holding the guitar.
a kinetic thing.
Yeah, and it was kind of like he doesn't hold it like a country singer.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like more wobbly or something, like, or it doesn't feel. It's not that. It's like kind of loose.
Yeah.
It sits loose.
Yeah.
I thought it was fucking me.
Yeah. No, I've seen the same thing.
Well, then there's something about having that
Rolling Stone in
I think
there.
it's important somehow.
Just for what it's worth, this is the kind of thing I'm into, not the thing specifically, but a word, a shipwreck Rolling Stone, but you know what I mean, like some kind of thing. You could just something Rolling Stone, but, you know, instead of just like a
like a Rolling Stone's a little bit.
Something Rolling Stone, like a kind of Rolling Stone. That's all I'm saying. A kind, in a Jetson way of saying it, you know.
Piedmont Rolling Stone.
Yeah, it means, you know.
Is this you?
Mm-mm. Let me. I want to get me a bottle of water.
Piedmont Rolling Stone. I've got one, thank you. I say we just do this until we should do this until we feel comfortable enough to start
Laying them in.
writing a verse.
Yeah. 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 Get the feel.
I think so.
Kind of get the feel going.
I think so. But if at any point you think like we need to move, just let me know. I'm not gonna move until you say so.
No, I'm not saying we can't do this, that, or the other, but we have to be able to do the discovery stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think it will just random itself into the room.
Well, just because due to the nature of kind of what's been going on with us, I think I'm not going to present that as an option. So you'll just have to say when. Well, I don't think I'd feel comfortable doing it. Just not.
Well,
not,
you'll find your way back to that because I'm not telling you not to. If you don't feel comfortable with it today, maybe you feel comfortable.
I'm just saying, I'm more concerned that, like, if you think, I just want you to be honest. If you think we're dragging on this part of it, because I'm gonna let this part sit to marinate. I'm gonna marinate in this spot until.
Well. And if there's in a moment of that, you go, hey, I want to go do that, then we can.
Well, I'll let you know, but I'm just saying, like.
Yeah, I wasn't
Just
looking.
tell me if you think we're dragging on this part of it.
Yeah, I got you. Then we'll move.
I'm not really looking to move on this part of it until.
That's cool. Yeah, well, you look. We kind of unravel from where we've been the last few days, and that'll I like unwind from that. I'm not trying to preclude one thing or the other, but all I'm trying to do is make sure one particular thing is included in the process.
Yeah.
You know,
Which is the big idea, right?
yeah, you know. And you can look at all this stuff as just prep for letting it just kind of spontaneously happen on the mic. Gather, because some of that does happen. We gather.
We will, but I'd still like to write probably the verses in here and then allow for a substitution out there would be better rather than the other way around.
Okay. I'm just going to look at. You said nothing new under the sun one time. What's a philosopher's take that would? Who's a philosopher that would have global reach, or someone who had ideas that would be a recognizable
Philosopher
or politician or cult figure that would address to something like that? Who would say that? You know what I mean? And how could you?
That particular statement, or just
Maybe
any statement?
but that statement.
That one?
Nothing new under the sun. Who would?
Well, it comes from King Solomon. Who would have repeated it in another?
Well, then if Solomon, David's connected there somewhere, right?
David. I thought Nietzsche had something about that.
Well, that's what I'm kind of getting at, like Nietzsche. You know what I mean? Like
he had something called the eternal recurrence of the same.
Yeah. I'm just looking.
I'm not quite sure if that's the same idea though, but it might be related.
All I'm looking for is like those sort of shiny references that kind of pull it up into the at times.
Yeah, that's a tough one because I would think that would be more likely to be. I would think it'd be more likely to be an author than a philosopher who would have repeated that.
Yeah.
William Faulkner said, "The past ain't past, and it ain't even past."
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit of a similar idea, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's a little different too. Faulkner.
Well, we have to go to a more universal source.
Twain.
Twain's probably not
still too
global
too
enough.
colloquial. Shakespeare would be the one who you really. Yeah, it'd probably be Shakespeare, because Shakespeare's the one that's everybody's read.
Mm-hmm. Everybody knows that word. I don't know if it applies. I'm just trying to look for that.
Well, definitely, as far as writers go, Shakespeare would be the most famous writer on the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Even more so than the Greek philosophers, I think. And probably even more so than King Solomon. Or at least equivalent. Shakespeare quotes. I think that's probably a pretty good place to look.
Why did I say Greek? Did you say Greek?
I just did. That's another place to look.
Well, what's funny about Greek? What's just kind of funny? We're just gathering shit, but those Pete's hot dogs were all Greek. They were all Greek run by Greek families.
They are
right there in Easley.
That's funny, isn't it?
So you had those. So is it like you got the? I'm just trying to think of something uniquely funny about that. What would those guys be? They would be the philosophers of the hot dog. What would they,
philosophers of the hot dog. They have that vibe a little bit too, don't they?
What's funny about that? What is? I'm not saying it's even for this. I'm just trying to think. What's funny? How would you address them if they were the not the professor, not the oh, it doesn't matter.
Huh.
Greek dogs.
Nothing can come of nothing.
Who's that?
Shakespeare.
Yeah.
I'm on Shakespeare quotes right
Yeah.
now. That's a good one, isn't it? Nothing can come of nothing. That's a little bit like you can't defeat.
Can't defeat defeat. No one likes the truth.
This above all, to thine own self be true.
People know to thine own self be true, that's for sure.
That's a good one. I wasted time, and now doth time waste me.
Yeah. That's a bit like can't defeat defeat.
It is.
Just to one thing I'm picking up on there that could be cool is the use of that what hath, shalt, doth. Where's that coming from? I know there's biblical things, you know what I mean, but
What are you talking about?
but the truth hath wasted, like the word hath. What is that Renaissance era? When is that
The
language?
King James English.
English, right?
Yeah.
So there's something kind of funny about maybe using that in there.
Using the King James.
A little hath, you know, if you make a point, speak at
is.
it like it's almost out of the Old Testament.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole thing surrounding that translation is really interesting too. Just how people have, sort of just how people perceive that is just strange.
I guess what I'm coming at is like if you intersperse some of your stuff with a little bit of that Old Testament language to make it feel like it's like
King James language,
like the biblical truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right.
Every here and there, maybe, I don't know. Just a thought.
Well, it's very Carolinian to do that. What's just so funny about that whole thing is that what I remember there was a saying amongst the Baptists, when it came to the King James translation, if it was good enough for Jesus Christ, it's good enough for us, which is such a funny statement because obviously that translation wouldn't have existed.
Right.
Yeah. It's just totally a misnomer.
Mm-hmm.
But yet people do tend to gravitate towards that translation, and I think part of what it is, the use of language is so specific with that, because you got that Shakespearean.
Yeah, it breaks all the meaning. Specific language breaks the original intent, right? Mm-hmm. Is that kind of where you're headed?
Well, I was actually saying it elucidates it more. Like I'm saying, I think why people get stuck on that, like, oh, it's got to be that, is that in that Shakespearean English, it's a more heightened degree of accuracy,
yeah.
It's more nuanced.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now the language is dumber.
Yeah.
So I think that's why people there is a reason I think they gravitate towards that. But I'm not sure how it relates to like the original Aramaic and Greek.
Well, that's kind of, I was saying the same thing
okay.
you were, meaning that, well, it's just a funny thing in that. It's like an overemphasis on specifics. Most of those things were like block ideas.
Yeah, right.
Block ideas.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is Shakespearean had more capacity to do that, but in its own specific way. But the more narrow it's gotten with specifics,
it could have broken it.
It gets more and more specific with every interpretation of the thing, which loses the big meanings.
Yeah, which it's just, yeah, that's right. Yeah, which is really interesting.
Oh, but just because what ends up happening is each time,
ironic.
Each time you interpret it, you're adding your own bias with new language.
And it'd be more likely to do that if the words are overly specific, I suppose. That could be a danger, because then it's like you're able to twist a doctrine out of something that's
much more open.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And by nature, it would have to be more open than what they've made it in those translations, because not the whole world speaks English.
Yeah.
And they had that problem before that translation too. Remember, because the Catholic Church was saying only in Latin, but that wouldn't address like a lot of these other.
Yeah.
So that's always a problem.
Yeah.
Man, that's like a whole theological, philosophical debate. But yeah, to the effect of it, yeah, it could. I see what you're saying.
Every once in a while, throwing in,
a Jamesian.
Something.
Well, because King James, I think King James would somehow relate to South
Carolina.
Carolina.
Well, like it's the gospel. like what I'm saying is the gospel.
Yeah.
And if you throw a word there every once in a while, it just does that instead of trying to justify it.
That's right.
I don't know if it'll work or not. It just kind of hit me.
Well, it's interesting because that Shakespearean English, that the Southern dialect is closest to that. So if you're talking about Kakalaki, you are dealing
Getting
with
closer to the
you're
actual.
dealing with that. Whereas the Puritans, they wanted to really break with all of that, because that language is connected to classics and it's actually connected to the history. Whereas those northern poets, they felt an objection to all that stuff. Did you know that? They felt a strong objection to that tradition because they felt that it implied outdated concepts like hierarchy, nobility. They wanted a radically egalitarian society, and they felt like those old English
Tended to elevate
ways
some above the other.
it tend to have a caste system.
Because it's educated and it's right.
Yeah, probably for lots of reasons. Because the
Well, like you said, the references that it's been making, it's pointing to broader, older ideas.
Yeah, older ideas, and even like the classics themselves, like those Greek stories that people studied for years, like Odyssey. We talk about that. There's like hierarchies in those things that didn't make the early Americans feel very comfortable. They really wanted to get away from that, whereas the South didn't mind those. I don't know how that applies, but.
I'm just writing things like I don't know if any of this is going to do anything, but like when we're talking about that and that old
school
and the Homer, I'm thinking, well, Cyclops or One-Eyed. There's a
Cyclops. That's
right,
a good one.
That's, you know,
One-Eyed Cyclops. There's a saying about that too, about the one-eyed man or something like.
That's what I was going to say. The one-eyed man.
That could be in there.
You know.
What is that? That has to do with foolishness, doesn't it? Like, let's see. I'll read it to you. I'll find it. This one of you. Eyed man. Yeah, the one-eyed man is king. Yeah. This is a famous quote. In the country of the blind, the one-eyed man is king.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's actually could be maybe verbatim.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think it's important to use those sages verbatim.
Well, I mean, does anything speak more to? Well, how does that speak to what we're talking about? Or the conditions we're seeing right now? Like even a fool can see what's wrong here. Is that
basically
kind of it?
I think that's what it's saying.
You know,
essentially.
That's funny to me. It's funny to me because this stuff we're talking about that's rooted in one place you were already in, because that Marie Antoinette line is coming from there.
It's coming from that same lane.
You know.
This doesn't apply to this psalm, but this may apply to what me and you are going through right now. Sweet are the uses of adversity, which, like the toad, ugly and venomous, wears yet a precious jewel in his head.
I'll tell you what did happen. Which song? And that thing I was telling you about I was watching.
Yeah.
There was a dust up.
Yeah.
And right after that real hardcore one.
Yeah.
He starts writing Get Back. He's frustrated about kind of
which McCartney?
Because of this dialogue that was just going on.
Yeah.
And he starts playing. And he's playing this thing for a minute and it's not happening. And he's just kind of here messing around with melody. And he's just kind of playing and it don't seem like nothing. And then he starts going na 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 na. You know, and what's really funny is when you can see that as a group.
Yeah.
When that started to happen.
Yeah.
They were kind of, one person was in the corner over here, one person was over there, it was like Pied Piper. They all kind of got in position
Yeah.
because they knew something was happening.
They knew it was happening.
Yeah. But it only happened after Mad. You know what I mean? Like, and I was thinking about that when I was watching. I go, well, what is that? It's like, well, and why has that sort of been so key and central to a lot of our discovery? I think what that happens is that impulse knocks out all your reference. I think that's why things happen, because when you get into a point of conflict that it forces you, or I think it turns off everything that led up to that moment, and you're in clear air for a minute. That's all I think that's what it does, you know. It's like when I'm playing, if I try to improvise and I make a mistake,
Yeah.
the next thing I play is elite.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because
you're trying to play, and you fuck up what you were trying to do, and now you're no longer connected to that way of thinking.
And yeah.
And then now something can happen.
Is there maybe a bit of do or die in there too?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, exactly. Because now you have failed in front of the room, and so now what are you going to do? You know.
Yeah.
Fight or flight. You know.
So that can.
I just think that's the impulse of the creative. I really do, and I think that's why collaboration can be key, because you only get mad at or you only confront yourself, and it may not quite mechanically
work.
Give you that same punch or that same. Well, all it's doing, I believe, is all you can watch it. You got to. It's really remarkable.
No, I think that's true. What you're saying,
because it's shifting your perspective, in a way, and maybe there are other triggers that also do it. Maybe.
No, I think healthy collaboration is like, because even amongst, you know how much I love Dylan,
mm-hmm.
and even like he as singular as he is, there's been times in his career like where what you're talking about happened. Like his career was on the way outs, and he admits that in his book. But when he worked with Lenoir,
mm-hmm.
those situations were like that session was just fucking nuts.
Mm-hmm.
But the end result was like it revived his career, and I don't think it ever really went to that piddling place that it was
mm-hmm.
before.
Mm-hmm.
But Lenoir like smashed guitars, like they
mm-hmm.
were screaming, yelling.
Totally frustrated.
Yeah. Like,
well,
Dylan would walk out apparently and
mm-hmm.
just be like, "Bring somebody in." Like, you get.
Yeah. No, that is a real thing, and I just don't think. I think you can only get so far without it. That's why I've said at times too. It's like, well, man, if you're not disagreeing, you're not trying.
Yeah.
You know.
And another really great thing that was said about that particular process was that Dylan wrote, he said, in the end, Lenoir didn't get quite the record he wanted, and I didn't quite get the record I wanted. But what we want isn't always what's most important.
Mm-hmm.
They got a great record, but it wasn't either what
either one of them wanted. Yeah. Yeah.
It didn't matter, though, because it was...
And if it would have been too much of one or the other, it would have just been whatever.
Been broken.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm feeling kind of part of maybe what's a key pillar in how to approach the thing is some use of, because you were keying in on chivalry. Well, chivalry is like a knight's. That's a Shakespearean.
It is.
That's
right.
It's the use of old language to make some of the current observation feel universally true, like a word here or there.
That's why I like saying logical gallantry.
Yeah, it adds the hand of God to it somehow.
Yeah,
which
is what's needed right now.
Yeah. Here is the truth. No one likes it. That's the funny thing. A lot of people, if there were such a thing as a return of it, you know what I mean, they wouldn't want it.
No, they don't.
They don't want it.
No, it talks
they
about
want
that.
My truth.
It talks about that in the Bible, in the Revelation, in the last days, the two angels come down and like preach, and then like the world's like, no, get him out of here. They try to kill him, and they do kill him, and then they resurrect.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Feet of clay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That feet of clay kind of seems like you can't defeat a little bit.
It does. Yeah, feet of clay.
Well, there's ages, right? Like there's ages written about in history and in the Bible and stuff, and the one supposedly that we're in now is feet of clay, because there was like the Iron Age and the Age of Alexander the Great, and there's been a bunch of other ages, but the one now is like supposedly, according to theologians, is feet of clay, and that makes sense to me because, like, if you think about the digital thing, it's like it's not tangible enough or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a wall or or a wheel.
Mm-hmm. Nothing exists.
Yeah.
You're investing in things that aren't. You know. You know. I mean, I would think that even the way that financial things work now.
Yeah.
If things were actually down on paper, you wouldn't be able to extrapolate the skullduggery out as far as they do.
Oh no!
Because the paper trail would be like it'd fill an office building just to complete one transaction.
Oh, I believe that. I believe that's part of the impulse of getting rid of paper money. Is what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's a mess. It's a mess. But these things are true. Like these things are, the truth doesn't change, man.
So it's just the inconvenient thing about it, right?
It doesn't, and it'll be interesting to see who can actually. You're talking about who will be the last man standing, right? Because this world will get so spun out on lies that it may come down to the point where, man, there's only just a few hundred people on the planet who know what truth even is,
mm-hmm.
or even have the notion of it. I hope it doesn't get that way. But I mean, the way things are headed now.
Well, it's a funny thing if you just kind of think about it, because part of what's happening is I think more people are aware of the truth than will speak on it, but because they're able to speak through something that is as vapid and intangible as handheld devices, there's no accountability on the truth in the moment.
That's a big, and that's so hard for people to understand. No accountability to the truth in the moment.
Yeah.
And that's my problem with religion, is that religious people don't seem to take accountability for the truth in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Have you noticed that?
Mm-hmm.
In fact, religion is used to obfuscate
mm-hmm.
the truth in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I find that people don't take accountability for the truth in the moment from both the religious side and the non-religious side. That's a failing. No accountability for the truth in the moment. Very few. The best artists do.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I love about the South, if you listen to people talk about the South, the way of the South, the way of the Cavalier, has always been about living life. The life that you live should be an art,
mm-hmm.
which has to do with the truth in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's not that all people have the option of living their life.
Well, right, and that's what art can show you. Like the microcosm or the metaphor of that thing about when I said playing.
Yeah.
And you're in this moment where you're trying to be predictive about what you're going to do, but the best things come when you react to what is happening. I think that's about the life in the moment. You know what I mean?
The moment,
living
in the now.
Right. That's when you're letting it. You're reacting and letting it come to you. Which
Not
is, I
forcing
think, what that quote is about.
I think. Yeah, I've heard Willie Nelson talk about mistakes. Like you're talking about playing mistakes, and
mm-hmm.
how like a mistake is such a important part of playing.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like if you try to avoid the mistake, you're never going to really do.
It's funny how that works.
Mm-hmm. Interesting, right?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Because I don't know where had come to me a minute ago when we were talking about this Goodbye Pork Pie Hat, right?
Yeah, I like that. What is that?
That's a Charlie Mingus song, which goes back to another point of reference from another piece of our work.
That
right?
rhymes with something we have, though, doesn't it?
What's that? Oh yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yeah, can you say that again?
The Goodbye Pork Pie Hat. That's rhymes with the unwashed yoga mat.
Yeah.
But
that may ought to be in the song.
what's interesting about it?
Yeah.
Mingus wrote it as a tribute to Lester Young, who had died, who was notorious for wearing this pork pie hat. But where's this other thing I just found? Where did that go? It means okay. So now we get down to something else. What is pork pie slang? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
In Cockney rhyming, which is close to our reality, right?
Yeah.
In Cockney rhyming slang, pork pies, porky pies, or just porkies means lies.
Yeah, that's right. They're lies.
Lies. So maybe there's some good language in there. I'm just going to read these lyrics from that Goodbye Pork Pie Hat and see if there's anything that sticks to you. Okay?
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I need to pay attention.
No, it's all right.
I was still kind of looking up quotes, but
oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
Well, there might be something interesting here, and it's
All
not.
right. I really like Goodbye Pork Pie Hat.
Yeah, I do too. But what's in there, in case there's anything else in here that's trying to point somewhere? It says a bright star in a dark age. When the bandstands had 1,000 ways, or refusing a black man admission, black musician. In those days, they put him in an underdog position. Underdog positions, interesting. Underdog.
Should I write that down?
Underdog, something like that.
Underdog is important.
Here's the line that stuck out to me. It's just the end of it. Just bright and sweet love is never easy street. Easy street though is funny. It's just
That's a
funny.
pretty good one.
Bright and sweet love is never easy street.
That seems connected.
Yeah,
Who wrote that?
that's all out of that same lyric.
That's off Mingus?
Mingus, yeah.
I like that. You like that?
Mm-hmm.
Goodbye Pork Pie Hat. It's just interesting because that feels like something that we've said. Or close to it.
Mm-hmm. Summer serenade of taxi horns and fun arcades. Where right or wrong under neon, every feeling goes on. Names sidewalks, the history book of a circus. Dangerous clowns balancing dreadful and wonderful perceptions.
Oh, okay. I've got a bunch of quotes now about nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
And this is a good one. Nas, you remember Nas?
Uh-huh.
No idea is original. There's nothing new under the sun. It's never what you do, but how it's done.
Oh, that's never what you do. Say that. That's nothing new
But
under
that's
the
true.
sun.
That is true.
It's never what you do, but how it's done.
Yeah. And I think that also has to do with logical gallantry or chivalry or something like that. Like, it's not what you do, but how it's done, how it's performed.
Well, that's a great rhyme.
Yeah.
It's not what you do, but how it's done.
It's a good concept, too.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And it applies to a lot of things, I think.
Yeah.
Huh. Robert Plant. I don't quite understand. Robert Plant. There's nothing new under the sun. You just get a can of paint out. I don't quite follow it.
That dude's had more license to steal.
I just don't quite understand what.
I don't know.
What that means, do you?
Yeah, might be.
He said, "There's nothing new under the sun. You just get a can of paint out."
You just get a can of paint out.
Yeah.
I'll just do it. I guess. You just get out a can of paint and go.
Oh, okay. I guess I kind of understand what he's saying.
I guess yeah, that's kind of true. I suppose there isn't anything new. You just start doing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. This is Ambrose Bierce. There is nothing new under the sun, but there are lots of old things we don't know. Huh. This is kind of interesting, just from a religious standpoint. The difference between the Old and the New Testament is the difference between a man who said there is nothing new under the sun and a God who says, "Behold, I make all things new."
Say that again.
That is that is true, though. I mean, that's the difference. The difference between the Old and the New Testament is the difference between a man who said there is nothing new under the sun, which is Solomon, and a God who says, "Behold, I make all things new." Because that is very different, actually. Because in the Old Testament, it talks about like the dead know nothing; they're just dust, all that. And then in the New, it's like, "Behold, I make all things." So it is that's kind of interesting. And this is Solomon. What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
There's a John Lennon one in here too. In this one, there's nothing new under the sun. All the roads lead to Rome, and people cannot provide it for you. I can't wake you up. You can't. You can wake you up. I can't cure you. You can cure you. Expectation is the root of all heartache.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that seems to be revealing, it's like a kind of a use of where you can get that global reach is the use of larger ideas, older ideas, mixed in with this guy's
story.
Yeah, story from the street.
It needs to come from the sages
Mm-hmm.
of the past.
Yeah,
I think it's really important.
so you can probably say some things that are immediate, but well, basically using the strength of undefeated truth against the observation of
Of your experience.
yeah of the failed world around you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And using those things to back you up as the guy. Oh, you think I'm cackalacky crazy,
But here,
yeah,
this is like, but
yeah. So it's just kind of the way you. I think it's that simple. It's just like say some things that are current and relevant in a funny kind of way, meets some of the right
100%.
some of the sage stuff.
You really need the sages, like you said, as backup.
Yeah,
You need a little backup.
yeah, and that and some of that language just makes it go out. You know.
And just also by the fact that it's a known quantity, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Right, it already works.
like
it's
if you
already
said
proven.
to be or not to be, that is the question.
Mhm.
You know, if you said to be, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, just things like that. People know what they are
right.
across
Cultures,
cultures and
across ages.
yeah.
Yeah,
So you need stuff from the ages.
yeah, that's a good one. To be or not to be. That's a really good one.
And they should be famous, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like that's what was good. There's nothing new under the sun. It's famous.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Mm.
I'll take this one.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what are you doing?
On this thing, right?
What's that?
Because you see all those guitars.
Hey,
Hey,
I just missed you. I think. Hey, look at you.
wait a minute.
Hi,
Hey,
buddy.
Look at you.
Hey.
Mitchell's back there.
Hey, what's up, Mitchell?
How's it going?
Hey, good.
Your studio?
I am. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sexy. Hey, he was doing a quick down and dirty mix for me of Chicago. I've added Tim Pierce on guitar.
Oh wait. Yeah.
Remember I told you I added a few tracks.
Yep.
And it like, dude, all our stuff, anything I was feeling even slightly uneasy about as
Yeah.
far as groove. And by the way, between you and me, I mean, I see that this is the first time I've ever worked with him.
Yeah.
As great as he is, you know, one of the things that makes Luke so great is his time.
Oh fuck yeah. Oh yeah. No
That's one of
doubt.
the things about Lukather is like,
Yep.
even Mark Benet, you know what I mean? There's never any, do we need to shift that?
Right.
Like,
No. Yeah.
Luke shit is always where it's supposed to be.
Yep.
Where Tim, as great as he is, I'm like, I might need to
Yep.
look at that. But he put on these parts that weren't there before that's making me go, you know what, this is the
Done.
last shit it
The
needs
done.
to really sound like a record. I'm getting really fucking excited.
Oh good.
And I just was hoping if you had 5 minutes,
Yeah.
Mitchell's got a split in 10.
Yeah.
If you could tell him those plugins, what we talked about as far as a stock.
Oh, absolutely. Let's.
Shannon separate
Yep.
tracks,
Yep.
the plugins you said, because I think I have half of them.
Yep.
And the other half I want Mitchell to buy right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And get me. So I'm going to turn you over to him, and I'm taking a break now.
Cool, man. So good to see your face.
You and I will talk real soon.
Okay.
Yes, Mitchell.
Yep.
How's it going?
Hey, bud. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Uh,
So yeah, Steve was saying that you have some plugins that.
Yeah. All you need to do to basically get a real nice approximation of what I do on my desk here, you know, is any iteration of the SSL G or E channel plugin, you know. So Waves has them. There's a ton of different companies that have them now, but it's so you would that the Waves you know, SSL channel strip, you know. And then I'm sure you already have this some version of an 1176.
Yep.
And then the thing I use across my bus is the API 2500.
Gotcha. So let me write this down. So SSLE, and then this is 1176.
Yep.
And then for your bus,
For
what
my-
did you say?
It's the API 2500, and a few days ago I got a note that Waves had that thing on sale for $19 or something. And I don't know what you guys use. Some of the companies are better than others, but they get
Yeah.
close enough.
We have UA, so I think he already has the SSL channel strip from
Yep.
Universal Audio.
Yep, use it. They're the best. Yeah, I think.
Yep. And then he's got the 1176 from UA as
Yep.
well. Hear about that API? I'll take a look.
I think they make one, and theirs would be better. You know, the Waves one will get the job done because I've used it before, but I would imagine the Universal Audio one would be better. You know.
Yeah. And if you want to send me Steve just kind of mouthed
Yeah.
over to me to kind of track by track.
Yeah, it's real simple. Yeah, exactly. Because
You know, Pro Tools session with just, you don't need any audio in there, just have your kind of template with your.
oh no, if you have the shoot, man. Well, what I can do, it's in the function of. I'll take a picture of my kick and snare channel. So all I'm using them on, just if you want to make this note,
Yep.
I use an SSL channel on the kick and snare on the playback,
Okay.
and then I use an 1176 across my overheads,
Gotcha.
and then I take the entire drum mix and I bus it through a stereo channel that has that API on it.
Gotcha. API. Perfect. And then for your room mic and stuff, nothing.
No, I mean, and on a lot of these things, I've sent you guys the rooms, but on a lot of these things, I'm not even using them when I'm sending you the stereo. It's because a lot of this stuff, the just kind of for it to lay into the track, it feels best because my overheads, because of the sound of my room, gets a little bit of that depth of field in them just because the room is there, you know. You can bring them into taste, but I know like on Dream Away, I wasn't using them. I wasn't using them. But the mono room mic is a real aggressive thing, you know. That's depends on what you want to do with it. And then the stereo rooms are they're clean, but they're also. It just depends on the density of the track and what you want to do. But a lot of times, and sometimes I'll send you two sets of overheads. There's one that says KM86s and one that says GJ, which is Glenn Johns, which is Coles. And a lot of times I'm not using those either because they get real thick sounding and they don't lay as well into the tracks that we've been working on, you know.
Gotcha. All right. Well, sounds good. I wrote that down.
And then I'll walk you through when you have them up. It's really simple. There's I'll just take you a picture, but basically, if you remember this, on the kick and snare, I'm only reducing the first little yellow light that comes on, which says 3 dB.
Yep.
But on the desk, there's a lot of tonality difference in between inside that first. Like it's a pretty dramatic thing, just that first LED, you know, coming on.
Right.
So that's where I'm doing that to the kick and snare. And then those things, the kick and snare balance, are only moving that API bus limiter about a dB. So when you're mixing into that the API, the full global amount of gain reduction you want is maybe a dB, max 2, depending if it's an aggressive thing. So I'm knocking that down on the kick and snare a little bit, and then I'm bringing those up into the stereo limiter to about a dB, and then at that point the kick and snare, if you know what I'm talking about, the kick and snare are kind of acting like a key for the stereo limiter. So when you bring the overheads in that are already getting limited to get a little bit of taste of that sound, then they're also getting kind of keyed by the kick and snare. So and then you just bring those up to about where you want to hear the cymbals, and it'll be real close to what I'm sending.
Sweet.
And I also, one thing I do is I don't over EQ on the way in. So like in my overheads in particular, I'll pull some low mids out at like 350 to clear things out, depending, you know. And then you might throw another stereo SSL EQ on the backside of that limiter on the aux to just use a little high boost, you know. And that's about it.
Sweet. Well, sounds good. I wrote most of that down.
Yeah.
Send me some pictures. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I will.
Even if you want to send me an empty session with.
I don't have those plugins, but I can take a picture of the settings on my API right here and just match the settings to the plugin.
Oh, perfect.
And the same thing for the kick and snare on the SSL channel.
Sweet.
And I'll do the same thing on my overs too on the 1176, because on the 1176, for what it's worth, I typically don't go any harder on gain reduction than -3. If those things are pretty aggressive. If you get past, you can go to -5, but typically on what I'm sending you guys, it's maybe -3. You know, so I'll send you pictures of all three of those things. I'll try to get a picture where what you're looking at is the dynamics channels for kick and snare are just those will be the two things you see in the picture vertically. It'll be the kick on the left, snare on the right.
Sweet. All right. Well, sounds good. Yeah, this has all been sounding great.
I can't wait to hear it. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I'll keep in touch.
Yep.
I'm sure people be too, and then we'll take it from there.
All right, man. See ya.
Take care.
You too. All right, man. Sorry. Okay, let's see. All right. Let's take a picture of that. Okay. All right, buddy. Sorry about that.
Eating some of that cherry stuff. It's pretty good.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
Not bad.
Mhm.
Well,
So that kind of I think identifies that maybe some of the devices.
yeah, and probably want to start making more use of those in all the songs, but definitely this one.
Yeah. That like what you were pointing out, that universal kind of that's the way to keep the language in a way that it'll reach across.
The world.
Yeah.
Because you gotta be able to back your shit up.
Mhm. Mhm.
And what better way to back it up than with the wisdom of the ages and the sages?
Yeah. It definitely feels like it's in this one on a serve a purpose.
It seems real important in this one. It's like,
Yeah.
you think I'm cackalacky crazy? Well, this is what these people saw.
Right. Uh huh.
You think my rages are unfounded? Well, what about these sages?
Right. This isn't new.
Not a new problem.
No.
And the points of accuracy are not new.
Right.
The places to look are not new. The logic is not new.
I liked so where we left it the other day was making that opening verse be more in the immediate of that guy's. I mean, we can keep looking at that. I think that's probably got that idea of how to use language in it or where to pull from, right?
In the verses?
Well, just what we just covered.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That's got a good heading for that. And the verses, you had that, felt like the first verse needed to set sort of kind of an immediate stage of.
Yeah, and I don't. We don't have to use any of that stuff.
Well, I do think there's something that you have to kind of go from the. Okay, let's just call it this way. Let's pick some places. Are you going to go from. That one was inside the room. You know, kind of where you were coming from. With the girl and the yoga mat, ecstasy. That was like inside a room. Location, you know. Are you going to go from the street?
Where's the place?
You know, which. What do you want to. Basically, right? This song's about you being the guy that's just saying it like it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, what would potentially three points of view or three experiential places, or maybe it's all one different ways, but like how would, you know, is there.
I'm listening.
I'm thinking, you know, and how can we keep it, you know, like personal experience, personal relationship level, in a way that we keep those things reaching out to a global experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or just where can you comment from that would have the most common ground, possibly,
Shakespearean.
right?
Is that what you were talking about?
Well, meaning like, is that yoga mat thing and that stuff, which I like, you know what I mean? Like
That may have to go.
Setting something in a room. Well, the mix of things being close and far, I think, is probably.
You may want some of that stuff just to keep it.
Can't get heady to whatever. I'm thinking real loosely in like shiny things and a ref here, there, and you were already doing that to some extent.
What's good about the yoga mat lines and stuff? There's a bit of a 1984 thing going. Like it's kind of like.
Yeah, everybody's got to set up in front of the thing and do their exercises. And
Yeah, it's like or just like character who has seemingly is all he's left with is hapless options.
Right, that's it.
You know,
hapless
and
options.
I think that part of it is current.
Hapless options to me. Is
that
like,
doesn't feel overly niche. I feel like that does something that a lot of people could relate to.
And so, is it like from the personal level to the street observation to the world observation done?
Yeah, I feel like hapless options is a universal experience right now, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Well, that even rates back to Brave New World. I don't know if you ever read that.
Yeah.
There was a laundry list of, just sort of mindless entertainments available.
Mm-hmm.
But to what? But to no purpose. Remember how I was saying, what is the conflict of the narrator?
Yeah.
What is the dragon that he has to slay? You know, if you think of him as a knight, what is the dragon?
Well, there's probably better ways of looking at it, but the dragon wants to slay.
or is that too heady?
No, I'm trying to put it. It's not censorship. I'm trying to say it's a rejection for saying it out loud, or you know what I mean. I mean, what are you trying to slay? It's like are you trying to wake up, make people? No, I don't fucking care about that. It doesn't seem like it. Feels like that. What are you trying? Like what you're having to do battle with is a mob of people going, shit, don't point that out. Shit, don't point that. You know, don't say that, right? I mean, basically.
Or does it even? I wonder if it even has to do with excellence, like, well, like, or those guys tell you that one time, you're making us look bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a bit of that too, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
It's not just in what you say; it's actually who you are. They have a hate for who we are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, what is, like? I guess one way I'm looking at it is like, well, what is our dragon to slay? We just want to be seen and heard, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not be just buried in the mire of obscurity of throth of hapless energy, right? Like,
Yeah. You said something else in there. It was also off your just early stuff. It didn't quite land, but never seen so much is another one of those things that feels like you're already walking in on something. Never seen so much. What, you know what I mean? Never seen so much. That's the way that idea feels. I've never seen it so much. It feels like you're at your wit's end. You know, it's kind of it's already in motion somehow. You've already witnessed something, so you know that's another way to enter the scene. It feels like it's already happening. I'm just thinking that opening line, because we're coming out. That's where I've said, so it's like never seen so much, or there's nothing new under the sun. Those kind of things do feel like what you said. Let them eat cake. Uh, yeah, what's the feeling of those verses too? Is it are you frustrated with what you're seeing? Are you attacking it, being funny about it? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, because that's what you initially were doing with that unwashed yoga mat. You were painting the picture of a bad look at
bless you.
male-female relations. That's
Well,
one.
yeah,
you know,
that's somewhere to look.
but it felt funny. You know, you were doing it.
There's something like, I feel like the narrator's wanting to rise above the situation somehow, be the last man standing.
Yeah.
It's like fight, you know, like slay the dragon. It's like a hapless ocean.
Get this shit out of my way.
Yeah, it's like he's never seen so much dystopia and dysfunction and erosion
Mm-hmm.
of chivalry and logic and
So, just as a quick, what would a picture of that of the female partner that represented that in his moment of frustration, what would that look like? What would like? That's why I say that you kind of did it with that an unwashed yoga mat, something. I thought ecstasy was good. Tell me if that's just.
I liked
past all
it.
that.
I liked it because it. And as far as like drugs go, that's like a really global drug.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And people use it a lot more overseas than they do here.
Right. So.
I remember when I was in Barcelona seeing like it painted on mountains and stuff. MDMA.
Yeah. So, like I'm saying, like just feeling wise, would it be like, you can't get enough ecstasy or something? I don't know, or whatever you would do with that. However you said that. Something.
You want to go? You want to find it? It would be. It might be in the booth.
Oh, the lyric
Maybe.
should be out there.
Maybe. It kind of makes the narrator seem like a dud, but maybe if you can present like maybe if you get the balance of the images, like where some of like the duddery is like just hapless options that he's available to, but I'm not sure he can be completely given up. I think he's still...
No, I think he's stepping over it.
Yeah,
He's
but
like,
it's in his way.
Like, why? I've never seen so much ecstasy.
I mean, it is
in
kind of
another-
caving in on him.
Yeah.
The shit's kind of been caving in on us a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But it's like we're still here.
Mm-hmm. Never seen so much.
Petulance before.
You find anything?
I did. I found it.
Oh, you did. What was it?
I mean, just... your girlfriend's got you down on your knees. Leather and a Nashville hat. She got pills full of ecstasy and an unwashed yoga mat.
That's pretty good. I mean,
It's pretty good imagery.
yeah.
That's pretty good.
Uh-huh. Your girlfriend's got you down on your knees.
Leather and a Nashville hat.
Leather and a pork pie hat.
That's cool.
If we're just going out, you know what I mean? Because pork pie's lies. It's kind of cool, you know. But I don't know. I'm just saying that would be the way to, if you're gonna use that hat.
Only reason I said Nashville hat is because it's that one girl wears. You remember that one girl?
Yeah.
And like all those like phonies wear that.
Mhm.
It's kind of like menacing. Something's menacing about it. That bachelorette thing.
Mm-hmm. Hey, yeah, keep it.
I kind of like the idea of goodbye. What is it? Goodbye pork pie hat.
Uh-huh.
I wonder if you could just use that line directly somewhere else. That's really cool. Or it might be there, pork pie hat. It would go with pills.
Mm-hmm.
leather and a pork pie hat. She got pills full of ecstasy. That's not bad.
Whether it's good or not, something about that substitution of pork pie has that brighter thing on it.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
But I'm not fighting for it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I like it too because it goes with pills.
But,
Leather and a pork pie hat. She got pills full of ecstasy and an unwashed yoga mat. That's good.
It paints a picture.
Yeah.
So what was the first line of that? Just, girlfriend got you down on your knees.
Yeah, your girlfriend's got you down on your knees. Sorry, excuse me. Your girlfriend's got you down on your knees with leather and a pork pie hat. She got pills full of ecstasy and an unwashed yoga mat.
Yeah, the only thing I had about Nashville is like, is it universal enough? You know what I mean? And it doesn't quite. Leather Nashville had it.
I think pork pie is good because it connects with pills.
So then so that's setting it. What else did you have on those original things after that? Did anything kind of close that? That would be the first two. Then we go to the four chord and then back. Is that? Did you have an answer to that phrase? Anything that worked off the back of that?
Of that verse?
Unwashed yoga mat.
I'm looking. Huh. This is just something I kind of sculpted out of what was on the page. I'm drifting down a river of denial. No one hears my plea. They say in the army be all you can be, but where is chivalry? Where's the chivalry?
Pretty good.
Well, yeah, because the way I interpret the army nowadays is just brute. Like, and like that guy Zach Bryan comes out of the army,
Mhm.
and the army's propping him up.
Mm-hmm.
And make no mistake about it, he's a brute.
Yeah.
He's a Philistine.
Mm-hmm. He sucks.
Well, I mean, but why does he suck?
Yeah.
Isn't that why? He's a Philistine.
Yeah.
He has no
yeah.
culture, no art,
Yep.
and no grace.
No. No.
He's a brute.
Oh yeah.
That guy Adam Calhoun is kind of a brute. Everybody's gotten real brutish. I don't think of Rhett Butler as being brutish. Not exclusively.
No. You said brutish. I thought of Popeye.
Well, he's kind of brutish, isn't he?
He was always Brutus and Bluto were the bad guys, and he was always the
Okay.
the
good guy.
He didn't want to have to do it, but he'd eat that can of spinach, and maybe that's where that open up a can of whoop ass came from, because that's what it was. I bet that is what. Because he would always remember that. Do you remember that?
I do.
He'd eat that spinach.
And then everything would change, right?
Yeah, he would open a can of whoop ass.
That's hilarious. Spinach. Eat your spinach. I like that. Olive oil.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. I used to like watching that. So. So there's two verses right there that potentially could be worked with, right?
Yeah, they're both kind of like a half of a hat, right?
Uh-huh.
So what was the second one again? That was really good. What did you say about chivalry and the?
I'm drifting down a river of denial. No one hears my plea. They say in the army, be all you can be, but where's the chivalry?
For me, I really think that drifting down a river of denial is a standout line because it feels like. I think it has to be delivered with that couple of fucks kind of point of view,
Sure.
like failure on
Yeah.
repeat. You
Uh-huh.
know what I mean?
Sure.
Uh, and I like that whole couplet. I wonder if you wanted to keep the feel from getting too precious.
It's a little precious. Yeah, it's probably, you're probably right.
Because you're loading this thing up to me of going, well, now I'm one at a table for two. You think I'm crazy, so it's got to be you got to be saying it's got to be a little bit of a punk ass.
Yeah, it could be a mixture though too.
I agree.
Of like if one thing starts to like point towards too precious,
just punk
just
ass at
immediately
first.
the next one.
That's what
get off.
I was literally kind of writing half phrases and go, well, what if you change, like, oh, for instance, like I was going, well, what if you look at the Ten Commandments and instead of saying thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not feel, or which isn't right, but like
I know
if
what you mean.
If you set them up and then
Kind of like in a Mel Brooks kind of way.
yeah, set them up but then break them, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
might be
like Mel Brooks.
yeah.
I think there has to be like a few, at least like a line or two in there where it is real clear maybe what's being said.
Yes.
Like there does have to be something in there of like what is chivalry or where is chivalry
Mm-hmm.
or something like to where it's like actual. And then you also have to, I think, have a few quotes in there, like
Mm-hmm.
we were saying, nothing new under the sun,
Right.
or a Shakespeare one, or some,
Mm-hmm.
a few of those. But then like maybe on the phrases right behind them, it's more like a broken way of like a punk ass
thing to say,
yeah.
because the punk ass thing that is in the now is backed up by sage wisdom.
Some sage.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm drifting down a river of denial is kind of a nice image, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good play on, because that is just right on down.
It also kind of has that feeling of like Moses in the river when he's just like drifting.
Yeah. I see it as like, like the gutter of shit. Like it feels really bad. And I guess what to say, I like about be all you can be too, because you can fuck with that phrase.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it sets it up to be, oh fuck,
Yeah. Be all you can. I thought be all you can be was an important.
Would be something to this, is what I was saying, thinking of what way you could do this. Wherever that other line was, I can't remember about the military and that stuff, but it'd be more like, to me, it's like be all you can be, as long as it doesn't include chivalry.
Yeah.
It'd be like that. I think the best way, that's not the way to do it, but
Well, that's kind of what I was trying to do with. That was kind of trying to be what I was doing there.
it is.
You could say, no time for chivalry. Maybe make it a negative.
Yeah, be all that you can be. Got no time for chivalry.
Yeah, like make it
Yeah.
sarcasm.
Yeah.
Is that a stronger way of saying it?
I believe it is.
Is that less precious?
Less precious. Be all that you can be. Got no time for chivalry.
Yeah, which is sarcasm.
Yeah. I mean, you can keep tweaking those things, but
Is that a more effective way of getting that point across?
I just felt like there was a balance there with bringing military and things like that in that got too,
Weighted.
yeah, a little bit.
Oh, so you wouldn't say anything about the military. Just say, they say maybe, huh? They say be all you can be.
I'm not. Yeah, I just think between those two things, just as an internal thing to something, be all that you can be. Got no time for chivalry.
Yeah.
Feels. I don't know how you would word it or use it, but that's a. Just, I'm not saying. That's just kind of how it's hitting.
But you do mean like sarcastically,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because I think we need more chivalry, not less.
Right. No, I definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Like wherever you're coming from, it's like, yeah, they say that's fine. There's probably a better way to say who says rather than, you know what I mean. They're gonna tell you all you can be, but or whatever. I don't
Sergeant
know.
tries to tell you. I don't know.
Yeah. There's a way to spike that thing on the head. A
Could
little
be
bit.
sergeant.
Yeah, that's good.
Because it's in the boot camps, right? Is
Yeah.
that where they're like, Brainwashing you.
Yeah,
Sergeant says, "Be all you can be."
but he ain't got no time.
No time for
No,
chivalry.
yeah, no time for chivalry.
Yeah. Huh.
I don't know.
No, it's true.
That's kind of funny. That okay? Now that's what you could talk about. You know, like well, I don't know how far to go, but that is pointing at that thing of like, oh yeah, did you see that son of a bitch when he said, "For God's sakes, we're the United States of America. We can fight as many wars as we need to fight." Did you see him say it? Did you see it? Did you see him?
Yeah,
say it?
yeah, I did.
Like the supposedly the warmongering other side, and this old fuck is just right out in plain sight going, we can fight, for God's sakes, we're the greatest country that's ever existed on the earth. We can fight as many wars as we want. Yeah, it's like, yeah, Sergeant says, send the fucking bucket brigade up front. You know what I mean? Like like, you know, the woke military, you know, is really going to incite fear in its enemies. You know,
Yeah.
they're fucking laughing at us. You know.
Is that true?
Yes.
Man. There's nothing under his watch. There's nothing going well, man.
Well, that's the other thing I see. They keep saying when these polls I see, and all the people are going. They're polling the thing, trying to say that if they just get someone younger, like when people are getting up in the world today, in this country, facing whatever problems they are, like their problem with the president's job is, you know, I'd feel better about my life today if that dude was just 8 years younger. Leave everything just the fucking way it is. I just wish he was 73. Like that's what they're like. No, that is not the problem in the fucking poll. You know what I mean? But it's hysterical to me that they're going. Yeah, you know what? We probably should get rid of him because people are really upset about his age. Fucks, you know.
Man. Can they just bring? They can't just bring Trump back.
Well, you were saying what you were saying is kind of to the point of that's a good place you can. That's an observation, something about the sergeant, because now that puts you in the military,
Mm-hmm.
And now he's saying some failed thing, that's a punk ass thing to do. You can load that thing up right, and then you can pull the rug out and go, now I'm one at a table. You know what I mean?
That's what I mean.
They all need to just kind of land.
Well, I believe one at a table for two kind of has a feeling of like a Rhett Butler image.
Yeah.
Seems like something he would do if Scarlett didn't show up. He would just fucking.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can not like what I say if you don't want to.
Yeah.
You think I'm cocky like it, crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So all those things just need to lay one of those at your feet. Yeah.
That's right. Here, can I just throw?
Yeah, of course.
some more?
Always,
I mean, I'm
always. Just go.
The protesters on the street, they got your girlfriend wrapped in chains. And all the women want it both ways. Well, I like one who cooks and cleans. The politicians will suck you dry and leave you out for dead. To be or not to be, that is the question that William Shakespeare asked. Does that point at anything?
I'd say. I mean, if you want to, I don't have any problem singing some of these things and just see how.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
fit.
is there anything there that
Yeah.
seems relevant to what we're talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
That last one I just kind of threw in there. It needs to be
back end of it.
Yeah, but I just thought I need to start at least trying to get one of those.
Get
in.
our opener in.
Yeah, we got to try to find one to go in. I'm not sure that one makes the most sense, but that is a really famous. To be or not to be is a real famous one. You're talking about getting ones that are.
Yeah.
That's probably the most famous literary statement of all time. To be or not to be, that is the question.
Oh, it is. I would say it is.
But I don't know how relevant that is to the song.
I think that Nothing New Under the Sun one's probably
Better. And that's probably about as well as known.
Yeah, it's up right up there. Read that one off again to me. I mean,
Just that page?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
The protesters on the street got your girlfriend wrapped in chains. And all the women want it both ways. Well, I like one who cooks and cleans. The politicians will suck you dry and leave you out for dead. To be or not to be, that's the age-old question that William Shakespeare asked. And I'm just adding little things here and there just as I read it. Because it's gibberish. I mean, there's a lot of something.
Read it again, and I'll tell you where it comes and goes for me, if it imparts anything.
Or what's the most important part in here?
But read it again, and I'll
And I can build off that.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you the things that I think are moving the needle the most.
Okay. There's protesters on the street that got your girlfriend wrapped in chains, and all the women.
Now the protesters on the street feels like there. I kind of lose me a little bit. Got your girlfriend wrapped in chains a little bit, but that part of it. But I'm not saying it's. But that's just how it's hitting me.
Yeah, that one needs to be more somehow. Okay.
But that's it. And keep on from there.
And all the women want it both ways. Well, I like one who cooks and cleans.
I like both of those, but I think the first one's better. A better.
What do you call it in the first one?
The women, all the women want it both ways.
Okay, all right, I'll circle that one. All right, keep going.
Yeah.
The politicians will suck you dry and leave you out for dead. To be or not to be, that's the question that William Shakespeare asked.
That one, all that feels like it gets too weighted.
All right, too much telling and not enough scene.
Yeah, it's got to have that shiny shit, pretty, almost ABing it. You know what I mean? In and out of the phrase, I think, to get the feel.
Gotcha.
Like dig in, let off, dig in, but not let off. Dig in, sparkle, dig in, right? You know what I mean? I know it's not an easy thing to.
Dig in, sparkle. I like that. That's kind of what the whole song should be doing, right? Dig in, sparkle, dig in, sparkle.
Yeah, because I think if you go too long on that one rail, you leave the fun.
It's kind of the polarity thing we were talking about.
Yeah,
when we were talking about polarity.
Yeah, I think it's just doing that the whole way.
This, but
yeah,
this, but that, this, but that, this, but that.
And for what it's worth, I would think we're keyed up to win because I think the chorus. I know you have some iterations of where we had the first iteration. That thing's already speaking what it needs to. It's going to do. I think. I'll never give up. I'll never give up.
Yeah, that's good. I sang that little chorus for Lacey, and she was. I could tell she liked it. I did sing that one line to her too about what you're gonna live on minimum wage unless you suck big old dick. She was like, "That sounds like my life. I don't really like you singing about that. That sounds like what we have to deal with as women."
Well,
I said, "Well, it's true, isn't it?" And she said, "Yeah, but it hurts."
yeah. Well, there's probably I do like that line. Don't know how but think there is that there again. That's in
That line may have to be in there.
I
It's a
think-
pretty strong, and I've never heard it said quite like that. Have you?
No.
And it's ironic considering all the gay stuff that's going on.
Uh-huh.
Isn't it a little bit?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. Probably after our first chorus, like in the next position probably, I would think.
You don't think that's the line you want to drop right out the gate? It's pretty caustic.
Every time I heard it, I felt like it was in the wrong sequence.
It could, yeah.
I mean, even like before we even got into this thing, when it was riffing in earlier, I thought, oh, that loses its impact by going first. It feels like it has to be in a different position for it to do.
Are you 100% sure about that?
I could be wrong, but it's hard because it's hard to follow.
The only reason I would say is like, you want the most slamming. I think you want the first couplet to be the most slamming in the piece to draw the interest, to keep people from changing it.
I like that, and if you so okay. If
I'm
you
not
do-
saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I would want to make sure about that because I do think you need a real zinger at the gate.
So what if he loaded that thing? I don't. That's fine. You're gonna be stuck on minimum wage unless you suck on big old dicks. Now do you go? Somehow, I'm in a surrounded by Hicks. You know what I mean?
I think that's where you could keep. You're saying that you got to maintain the interest. Well, maybe that's where you still stay on the sociology, like, well, something about Hicks or the sticks, or like you're still talking about that flight thing, right? Or that transient thing that's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because that's really, isn't that the most current thing? Isn't that kind of like a type of civil war? That movement that you know how you were talking about people are already moving from those failed things to. That's like the most current thing that's going on, isn't it? In a sense, is that flight? What do they call it? White flight.
So I would do that. I mean, let's just do it real quick. Just like you would say that, and you'd say, okay, so you're going to end up on minimum wage unless you suck on big old dicks, right?
Yeah,
You
but,
know,
well, more. I mean, yeah.
Whatever.
Unless
however.
you suck big old dick.
Unless you suck big old dicks. Yeah. Unless you suck big old dicks. Now, I'm stuck in a sea of whatever surrounded by Nazi Hicks or something. I don't know. Whatever you do. You know what I mean? Like, right? But that's what you need to do next.
Yeah, agreed.
You have to be there.
Agreed.
Right.
In the scene,
Mhm.
the image.
Mm-hmm.
Scene.
And so to the next one, can it go to that scene of you in that, my girlfriend's got this ecstasy and you know what I mean? Like what were those couplets?
Yeah, you could. I'll tell you right now. I think I might. Oh no, sorry. Your girlfriend's got you down, or would it be my? I guess it'd be
I'd
my.
have to possibly
My girlfriend's got me down on my knees, leather and a pork pie hat. She got pills full of ecstasy and an unwashed yoga mat.
And then we'd be turning around.
Would it go one at a table for two then, or would it be?
No, we do another verse. You know?
Okay.
So that first verse will be, yeah, my girlfriend's got me down. Yeah, well, right. I think so that's starting to maybe work a little bit to me. It's like because you got that thing, however it is, surrounded by Hicks or whatever you do there. Now, I'm out right in a room. Your girlfriend's got this something, and an unwashed yoga mat. That's just laying out a bunch of fuckery, you know.
In a good way, right?
In a good way, yeah.
And then, do we have enough rope to go for another verse, or do we have to shorten the song?
No, I think we have to
can?
do another verse.
Okay,
yeah.
so where do we go
So
from there? Is that where we say I'm
Nothing-
drifting down a river of denial?
Or nothing new under the sun.
Okay, yeah.
One
I
of
think that's
those.
where you have to. I think that no. I think you got to do it there.
You
I
know,
think you got to do the sages right there,
Yeah, you got to smack the shit out of them at the top.
and then do and it's like I've smacked the shit out of you. All right, now sages.
Sages, and then back to another zinger. You know
Another
what I mean?
rage.
Another rage.
Yeah. So sages. Okay, so
Now you could use that whole phrase that I liked. I'm sorry, not making. But you did, that whole one that says "There's nothing new under the sun." It's not what you do, but how it's done. You know,
that's good.
that's a good one. You know,
I wonder if we should just take that one.
take that whole one. There's
Yeah,
nothing new under the sun. It's not what you do, but how it's done. Because then you could flip that back to that failed thing. You know, the whoever tells you that you be all you can be, just leave out the chivalry, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like you could
Yeah,
go,
because that's connected to the what you do and how it's done, right?
Mhm.
Like, because like the brutes are just they don't really pay attention to how it's done.
right. I mean, I think you have to have a zinger. All I'm saying, you have to have a zinger next.
After what?
After it's not what you do, but how it's done.
Yeah. Does that whole thing go on for too long? I mean, do we have enough real estate to do?
Oh
all
yeah,
that? How do I even sing that? Right. There's nothing new under the sun, just what you do, but how it's done.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of a necessary groove too. It kind of breaks the
Mhm.
what you do is how it's done.
Yeah. So then it was like, so then you need to turn that thing back on its head. Like there's nothing new. It's all about how you do it, except for now. You know, except for that guy doing that bullshit. Except for the fact that no, you know what I mean. It's what the next line feels like it needs to do. How it's done. Or maybe you just draw a picture of it not being done. You know what I mean? Yeah, like how it's done. Like some fucking run a dumb at a dumb can, you know, it can't get it. Yeah, it can't. You know what I'm saying? Like you could make it. You could draw that picture that says it all about how it's done, and then you could just describe something not getting done the way it's supposed to get done.
So we can't really use any of our previous stuff with that, can we? Just under the sun, what you do, how it's done. Sergeant says, "Be all you can be." Chivalry.
Doesn't mean they don't get used in another verse, but don't seem like it. Now that doesn't mean that has to be the marker of that first one. Maybe there's a different one coming in to open that line, open that one. Now, but the one that maybe lines up better to rhyme with that chivalry thing is, "In the country of the blind, the one-eyed man is king." That one.
Yeah, we can't say we can't say a saying again though, right there, can we? Like what?
No, I
we've
was
already
saying
said
if you wanted to use that instead of that one, you know.
Oh, and get rid of that. I see.
Because you might be able to line that chivalry one up better to that. I'm not saying to do that, but if you want to use that, that other the military line might follow that up.
We're basically on the second verse now, right? So we have two stanzas.
Yeah.
Before the first chorus.
Mm-hmm. Now, this just rolls to me, but it might be too much with it. But just what? Nah, probably not. There's nothing new under the sun. It's not what you do, but
I kind of like that.
But how it's done. To be or not to be.
I was gonna do that. I had that.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, I did, but
Yeah,
I was afraid to say it.
Oh, don't be afraid to say nothing to men. I know we've been kind of trying to get our feet together. But I'm not wanting you to not. I don't want to say. I don't. I want to make sure that a certain amount of. There's a certain immediacy of impact that we have.
That's a good one. I know. I wanted to put that there.
Put it right there after that one.
Yeah.
There's nothing to say. So what you have to be or not to be. Maybe that's where you abuse one. To be or not to be.
Be all you can be.
To be or not to be.
To be or not to be. To be or not to be. Be all you can be. That's the question of what you be. That's the question of what you be. What the hell shall we? Democracy.
What you said about democracy is still hitting in my head. To be or not to be in the land of failed democracy. I don't know, or some kind of democracy.
Something about democracy struck me as being poignant. What about you?
Yeah.
It's 7:12. Do you want to run the
set?
Should we? I mean, I'm just trying to think of time. I don't know what your timeline is tonight. I just want to make sure we're.
No, we're like, just stay on this for a minute. I
Yeah.
mean, you feel all right about anything jumping, like working to you? You feel?
Oh,
like
I feel like we can stay on this. I just want to. I don't think we want to put all of the rehearsal tomorrow.
No, definitely.
So I was just
not.
trying to think. When do you want to?
Yeah, let's go ahead. Well, keep thinking about that.
I'm just saying we don't have to, but we could just say you want to work on this until 8, and then do the set 7, 12, 13. You want to give it another?
No, we sign off because I got to have that computer for that to run the set. So let's do it. Let's get.
Are
this.
You sure?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't. I wasn't saying we have to. I was just saying let's think about what's left.
Well.
Or do you want to jump now? I don't have anywhere to be.
I know all this stuff has to reach a point where it I'm just so you know, I'm okay with blocking these things in the way we're talking about it and doing it. And then if you want to look at that thing and go, look, I would never do it that way. But I can see A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now I'm going to make it feel the way I want it to feel. You know what I mean? It just, as long as it hits those functions and stays clear,
concise.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So if this is just a step toward that, I'm not. If you want to try things on we can jump in and try things on the mic and feel them against that track any time.
Oh yeah, I was just saying like, what's your timeline tonight? Because I want to just block out to make sure we have time to do the set, and I don't feel like I have to jump on this. Like I say, I don't have anywhere I got to be. We can go as late as you want. I just wanted to make sure we didn't run out of.
No, we need to do that, and
well, should we work on this for at least like another 30 minutes?
Yeah, see if we can finish this.
I would like to finish
this.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to stop. I was just saying, like, just letting you know where we were at.
See if we get another. See, so the first one, do you have it written down?
I have everything we've done written down.
The first one is you're gonna have to you're going to end up on welfare, right?
No, it wasn't that. Let's see. You're gonna live on minimum wage
Minimum wage. Minimum
unless you
wage.
suck big old dicks.
Yeah. Yeah. Minimum and dicks, and then
we gotta find the next
something
one.
about Hicks. Some. Right?
Well, yeah. I mean, it can.
Or did we not have anything? I thought we was gonna. You're gonna have to put you there. Put you in it. You know, right? Because it gets you to the girlfriend.
I think originally I said something like, what did I say? I said I think I might just hit the road.
Get on back to the sticks.
Head on back to the sticks. Yeah.
Yeah.
And disappear into the sticks.
Well. Sure.
Yeah, but we were talking about. I mean, we'll. You want to try some different things there?
No, that's okay. Because these things to me reveal themselves, as we've learned time and time again, real clearly when they start speaking through the speakers. You know, so that's fine to do that. So then you're going to. I just didn't want to lose track of
that. That's what I had, but.
And then you have the girlfriend.
Your girlfriend's got. No, my girlfriend's got me down on my knees, leather, and a pork pie hat. She got pills full of ecstasy on her unwashed yoga mat. And an unwashed yoga mat.
Yeah, right. So basically,
I should write these down too, I guess.
Check this out, right? Kind of, I'm sure you see this, but how this thing's running down the line. You got minimum wage, dicks, sucking dicks. Now heading back to the sticks. Bad girlfriend. Some imagery of, leather. So that leather and a pork pie hat. Whether I know I kind of threw that, but
it's fine.
It's a picture of something, and then she got a bunch of pills and an unwashed yoga mat.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So you just kind of set a bad scene. You're gonna end up on minimum wage unless you set big old dicks.
Might have to disappear.
My girl's got me down on my knees. So that thing right there, then you go to there's nothing new under the sun. That feels like that'll work okay, but we'll see, right?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
What do you think?
I it has to go to a quote right there.
I think that's all I'm saying. Whether it's
it
that
does.
one, it has to go into
to that.
Right? There's nothing new. I do like that thing about getting things done. Because that's not what's happening. It sets up the opportunity to.
That's a pretty strong stanza, dude. This first one, like, just look at that on the page. Like, you're gonna live on minimum wage unless you suck on big old dicks. I think I might have to disappear into a house off in the sticks. My girlfriend's got me down on my knees with leather and a pork pie hat. She got pills full of ecstasy and an unwashed yoga mat. That ain't bad.
No, it's not bad. There's something wrong here, or something not
paying.
Not maybe.
So this needs to pay a little more.
A little more, but that works. Inside itself, yeah. That's all Judson, that was already.
Except for that.
Yeah. I think that I guess what I'm looking for there, maybe, that just feels like a continuation of this, and it's maybe not.
You want a different.
Well, it's just maybe not good enough. If it had a little more of that sparkle shit on it, it might be good enough to just continue this line, but it might want to be its own
Idea.
or more somehow. It feels like it's resting to
Too much rest.
right there. That's all, and that's why what that pork pie hat was trying to do was just put some language in it that was out of the canon somewhere.
Out of the idiom.
Yeah, somewhere,
Well, what was the original phrase? Goodbye, pork pie hat.
Yeah, that's the.
Could you say that? Say goodbye, pork pie hat.
My girlfriend, what's it got me down on my knees?
My girlfriend's got me down on my knees. I say goodbye, pork pie hat.
However you want to treat it and see if it might feel enough.
What's more action in it?
Yeah, I said.
Goodbye, pork pie hat.
It might be obtuse. I was just trying to grab something that felt like it reached out.
It's Mingus, right?
Yeah, it's Mingus, but
I like it.
The bigger thing that was in there was the fact that was that pork pie means lies, My girlfriend's got me down on my knees.
Goodbye, pork pie hat.
Was she doing something to the pork pie hat, maybe, or to adding something to the pork? That's what it feels like it would be doing, like lies in a pork pie hat. You know what I mean? Or my girlfriend's got me down on it. It just feels like it wants to. Have action, maybe.
Oh, okay. My girlfriend's got me down on my knees lying on a pork pie hat. What about lying on a pork pie hat? Wearing out a pork pie hat.
Wearing out is good. Maybe pork pie just sucks at this point. But wearing out is better than even wearing out a Nashville hat. That just better than something and a Nashville hat. Just the action.
Wearing out a pork pie hat. She's wearing out a pork pie hat.
Yeah.
Got me wearing out a pork pie hat. Got me wearing out a pork pie hat. Is that the place we want to do battle right now, or do we need to keep?
It's close enough we can move. Probably,
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So then you got that. There's nothing new under the sun.
All right. So is that how we want to start the next one?
I mean,
There's nothing new.
I don't know if you got some other stuff.
No, I wouldn't question that part, that line. Yeah, you gotta have to say a Sage thing right there.
Right? There's nothing under new on the sun. Now, do you just want to? That whole line that one guy said is good. It's not what you do, but how it's done.
Okay, is there a way we can twist that just ever so
It
slightly?
needs to be.
There's nothing new under the sun. Ain't what you do. What about ain't what you
Ain't
do?
what you do, but how? There's nothing new under the sun. Well, I think you should twist it more, potentially. Like, there's nothing new under the sun about things getting done. Maybe it's not. It's not what you do, but who gets it done. Or not. You see what I'm how that, where it's put an emphasis on, not the actual thing, but just the look of it.
Mm-hmm.
How did you say? Just getting it done? Ain't what did you say? Nothing new under the sun.
Oh, I didn't really change it. I just said nothing new under the sun. Ain't what you do.
Ain't
but
what
how
you
it's
do.
Done,
Ain't
but
what
how
you-
it's done.
That feels pretty good. Ain't what you do with it, how it's done. Ain't what you do.
Ain't what you do, but get it done.
I think that's better.
Ain't what you do, but get it done.
Yeah. Get it. Yeah, get it done. That has a. Ain't what you do, just get it done.
It sounds awesome. Doesn't that kind of fly in the face of everything you say, though?
Which part?
Isn't the thing that you're usually railing against is like people just clocking in?
Well, that was kind of say.
Does that
Well,
contradict?
okay, here's one of mine. Okay, there's nothing new under the sun. Got nothing to do and can't get it done. That's just a sentiment. I don't care about the line, but I mean, if there's a play on that thing that I've been going with, that you've heard me say that, it's like, fuck, I got nothing to do and I can't get it done.
Huh. There's nothing new under the sun. It's what you do. What? There's nothing new under the sun. It's what you do and get it done.
You can sort that out. That, you know what I mean? Like whatever you come up with that. So then we can pick it up from there. Something about that line just needs to twist a little bit, right?
There's nothing new under the sun. Ain't what you do, but get it done.
Well, I think it's funny again, and you know I don't like this word, but it may be because it serves the purpose of what I don't like about it. And if you wish to be clear, there's nothing new under the sun. It's not what you do, just get it done. Like that feels more the sentiment of the thing. It's like people going, I don't care what you do, just do something. Just do, or just.
Well, that's just funny saying.
You know.
Well, that's kind of what that is, isn't it? There's nothing new under the sun. Ain't what you do, but get it done.
Yeah.
Or just get it done.
It ain't what you do.
Get her done.
My limited brain doesn't see it as clearly from but to just, and you know I don't like the word just. Ain't what
you say just feels better. Just get it done.
Ain't what you do.
Just get it done.
Just get it done. Just fucking do it, instead of ain't what you do but do it. I think something is a little more. Ain't what you do. Just get it done. That feels like something to me. You can have it the other way if you want. I
don't know what the other way even is now.
But ain't what you do but get it done. Ain't what you do but get it done.
Well, I think it just how it sounds better.
Yeah. I feel like it's more clear as it ain't what you do, just get it done. Now, if you can explain to me what the meaning of how it could potentially mean more, ain't what you do but get it. Nothing new under the sun. Ain't what you do but get it done.
Now, just to be clear, are those lines better or not than there's nothing new under the sun? It's not what you do but how it's done. I'm not sure if that's an improvement.
I think the back half of it doesn't energize
enough.
Yeah.
Well, that feels pretty energized. There's nothing new under the sun. Ain't what you do, just get it done.
To me, that feels like perpetual failure. You know what I mean?
Well, then maybe the next line needs to reinforce that.
Yeah. I mean, it may, like I say, all this stuff is just dotting something that you can take license with, but I do feel like that works for whatever reason, for my way of ingesting a thought, just in
yeah. I'm not fighting the Civil War on that one.
More than but I'm.
Yeah, I got them both here.
I don't want to be missing something there. But it just feels like it feels exasperated to hear there ain't nothing new under the sun.
Just get it done.
I don't care what you do, just fucking get it done. You know what I mean? That feels like what we're living
talking about.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's kind of how Biden talks, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like yeah,
Just fucking do it. Leave
yeah,
the fucking...
yeah. Don't make me think too long. You know? I have to have a diaper change in 5 minutes. You know?
Yeah.
All those people are the fucking excrement of humanity. I don't care which side it's on. I don't care about fucking respect. Son of a bitch has been abusing the American people for 40 years. He doesn't get the benefit of respect. You know? All of them. The longer you've been there, the worse you are. So fuck all that.
Yeah, that's a problem. Have you ever seen Legends of the Fall?
Yeah.
Real good. I saw it for the first time last night. That movie doesn't take too kindly to politicians.
No.
I think it's great.
Oh yeah.
How they?
That's all the way back there.
Yeah, it's always been going on, huh?
I just got the biggest crush on that actress.
Susanna, the one who plays Susanna. Man, I felt really sad in that movie when she kills herself.
Yeah.
It was real disturbing
Yeah.
when she's cutting her hair.
Anthony Hopkins, like he's never not good.
He's real good in that one too.
Yeah.
He's got one of the best scenes in the movie. Like at the end, like when he comes out, he's got the stroke and he's like, "What's going on out here?" And then they like whoa, and then he's just got the guy, and the guy's like, "Oh fuck!" He's trying to grab it. It's too late.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thing about movies, though, Lacey said the other night, why don't they just shoot them? Like, why movies is always like, they always delay, like,
Trying to build the
like,
moment up.
Would that really happen? Maybe. I mean, it might. But
It's good though.
it's good.
Yeah, your sensitivity to those things, you know, you can change that how you want, but that's a good block, right?
Yeah.
And so then if you did do that, just fucking get it done.
Just get it done.
You could. It probably needs to be a pretty immediate image next, because all of that's a bit languagey, right? Like it's we need to.
Is it too languagey, or is it gonna work? I guess we just have to try it. There's nothing new under the sun. Ain't what you do, just get it done. Sergeant says be all you can be, don't give a damn about no chivalry. About your chivalry.
Yeah, that's the better way for your. Helps that a lot, I think. Well, I think it almost has to be as wrong as sucking dicks.
Oh, on the last part out.
After that, I mean, I think before that sergeant thing, I think you have to turn that thing. If we're going to take that much time to. What did you have some other ones that were that rough?
Probably.
Or maybe it's just if you're gonna hit them army, you're gonna just have to hit the shit out of it.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily. I'm not sure that other thing's working.
The opener.
It doesn't seem like it.
Yeah,
Doesn't
it
seem
might
like-
just. It might be that maybe that just there's nothing new under the sun is the only part.
That might be. I think.
As
Yeah,
far as that goes with
it
that.
seems like that ain't what you do, but get it done. Just get it done. It's
kinda
filler.
Yeah, it's just nothing new under the sun. Maybe.
That's okay. That part is good. Let them eat cake, said Marie Antoinette.
You could try that. There.
I wonder if that's better than nothing new
Yeah.
under the sun.
Yeah, that's better.
It's more
It's better. Yeah.
badass.
Yeah. Yeah. So then what?
You want to try starting it there
Mm-hmm.
and see where we get.
Yeah. If that's happening there, then the phrase we're going to have to pick up. Let them eat cake.
I'm not even sure if that's right.
Bum, 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 ba, dum, bum, ba, da, bum, 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 bum. So you have to bum, 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 dum, bum, ba, da, bum, 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 bum. Well, we can backtrack. One thing we didn't do yet. The first verse, it kind of identified the point of view
Mm.
and it did line up. Right now, I'm not sure where to
Whose
point.
point of
'cause-
view it is?
Well, we don't know what we're pointing at. The first one you came in swinging, and then you put yourself in that room. You put yourself in a room. So it's like what it's hard, maybe if we define the
and
terms.
In terms of engagement, I mean, I mean, there's something new under the sun. May be better. Still, may be better than the other thing. I don't know.
I think the problem is we don't know where we're trying to point.
I don't either.
Right there, you know. So what's the worst thing you could say to set up that one at a table for two line of some of these things? You know what I mean? Like as far as
Sentimentally,
because whatever we do right there is going to have to be like you're going to have to land that thing out of some place that feels. You're right. I mean, am I reading that right? Like I'm the lone wolf. You're not. You know, nobody can say that. You don't like me for saying that. So
Yeah.
I just said that, and I'm sitting here by myself, one at a table for two.
that's right.
So it's gotta land in a certain place.
That's right.
That's gonna make that whole thing.
Pay
you
off.
think that crazy? It's gonna have to do that. So it's gonna have to be a real
It's gonna have to talk some shit.
shit. You know. So what would the point of view be?
Or maybe shit about a girl. What do you think? Want more shit about a woman?
Mm-hmm.
Protesters. There's protesters out on the street. Got your girlfriend wrapped in chains, and all the women want it both ways. All these women want it both ways.
The only thing I see about that compared to your first verse,
It's too,
well, there's nothing groovy about it.
yeah.
There's the groovy. You know, I mean, as much as it isn't, you know, you don't end up on minimum wage.
That's groovy.
That's some groovy shit. That's like blues. It's like
That's totally groovy. Well, I came up with that just by spitballing on the mic.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I say, if you want to do some of that, and
We can. You gotta see where we land, but maybe where am I pointing? Just trying to talk some kind of stir up a little trouble right there, in these lines.
Well, yeah, it's like
Yeah, what's the idea behind it?
that's why I was trying to get a beat on because I think verse 1 is done to the point that it is because it knew where it was going. Maybe this one will know if it just
These are
freestyle a
other
little bit.
ideas I wrote down, and see if there's anything in here that. Let them eat cake, said Marie Antoinette. What's the truth about equality but a body full of lead? If you can't, and there was a bunch of other ones. If you just can't get ahead, what's the truth of democracy if you just can't get ahead? Everything is headed south, if not for better or for worse. It's a modern mediocrity where nobody wants to work. There's another country bumpkin singing songs about a simp. Bullets fly like bourbon, makes a tough man want to
I
quit.
think that previous verse might have been pretty good.
You're gonna have to point out what you mean. Which one?
Start right before that, the one you just read to, right before where you stopped. Just go up the page just a little bit. It was about I can read it.
Yeah, you might know.
Oh yeah, so the once appointed democracy. If you can't get ahead, everything's heading south. If not for better, for worse. It's a
Modern mediocrity where
but
nobody wants to work.
Now I'm one at a table for two.
Yeah,
that feels like
that's pretty good.
That would load up into that pretty good.
So it'd start with everything is headed south.
Mm-hmm.
If not for better, then for worse. It's the modern mediocrity where nobody wants to work. That's not enough verse. Don't we need 4 more lines?
Oh, is that the whole thing?
Oh, well, I don't know.
Where did you start from?
I don't know.
Uh, I want to look at something real quick. I had written some notes a few days ago. I forgot to.
Now, does it need to have a total of 16 lines before chorus?
It does, yeah. We'll be.
You sure?
Oh yeah. It's already the arrangement's already laid out.
And that's going to work for us.
Yeah.
And it's not long-winded.
No. We'll have to make it up somewhere if we don't do it there, and that feels like the natural thing, you know. It just feels rushed to get to that. Now I'm one for a table two coming straight out of that girlfriend verse, you know. It,
It seems like it could be 12 lines, though, doesn't it?
we messed with that. We had it.
Did we ever do? We've only done. I thought we only did 8 and 16.
We have that thing laid in there where we didn't go to the 4 chord. We waited and made it 12. It doesn't matter to me. To that.
Well, we'll go ahead and write the 16, and then if it feels belabored, then we'll just deal with it then.
Well, the way the track feels is just. Let's see. You could go to the break there. And
No, I
go
wouldn't.
To the chorus.
No, I wouldn't.
But that's a turn. I mean, I'm feeling it.
Is that good? Do you like that, or does it feel too elongated?
It doesn't to me, but it wouldn't matter because if we don't do it there, we just have to do another verse somewhere. You know what I mean?
Is it better to divide that in half, or is it better like we have it, like in terms of just the listening experience and the economy of it, I guess?
Huh.
I think maybe I'm counting it wrong. Can you start? Yeah, let me. Can you start it again, and then cue me where the vocal goes in, just so I make sure I'm not counting it wrong.
I'm looking at one thing too here, real quick. Let me see something. So. So I'm just looking at our overall feel of the arrangement, where that's at.
It's good.
We could potentially go right in there. Let's see. Which will be. Yeah, we don't have to do a double verse at the top.
I don't think so, because you would have, yeah, I think it would be, you would still be able to get, would it be 8, how many lines would it be that you'd be getting in then?
Well, you'd have that first verse that you got.
And it would end on unwashed yoga mat?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a problem, isn't it, kind of?
I don't think it.
So maybe it's just a revision. Maybe that line goes later. Yeah, I don't think that'll work.
No, it doesn't. That's what it says. Sometimes it's like to try to get from A to B. It's not giving it enough time to say what has to be said to make that payoff to that. Now you could maybe
revision though.
Frame it out differently.
Well, it might just be where the stanzas go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the first part of it's fine, right? I think you're gonna live on minimum wage unless you have big old dicks. I think I might have to hit the road, house off in the sticks.
Mm-hmm.
That's the right first sentiment, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first position.
Mm-hmm.
So, but maybe my girlfriend's got me down on my like that. That could be. See, this could all be a second verse,
Mm-hmm.
not here.
Yeah.
Because this doesn't feed into one at a table for two very well.
No, it doesn't. Yeah.
But maybe that's the top of the.
The next one.
Yeah, like it's
Mm-hmm.
like because you just said calculating, and now you're talking about your current state. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you're kind of like almost simping.
Mm-hmm.
You're almost on the border of simping or something.
So
Haplessly simping.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's just a matter of getting that next stanza to play into one at a table for two.
Yeah. So that's coming.
Maybe
from
there's nothing new under the sun. Maybe that sage line is the one right there.
like the third spot instead of the girlfriend stuff.
I don't know what you mean by third spot. Wouldn't it be the second spot?
It depends on.
Okay, yeah, I'm just trying to make sure we're on the same page here.
You would say some
House off on the sticks.
There's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah, I just mean there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing new under the sun.
Or either that or let them eat cake, said Marie Antoinette. Nothing new under the sun is more applicable, isn't it, to what we're talking about, isn't it? Than the let them eat cake line. Well, I guess it depends on how you look at it. What does let them eat cake is sort of like, that is kind of like almost like the original, like, oh, we'll just learn to code. Oh, just eat cake. It's a little bit like,
Yeah.
that does relate to populism, doesn't it? Like, that's kind of like, what's tripping you?
I'm thinking my brain's trying to go two places at once. I was thinking about tomorrow and what the third line of this thing is.
Oh, okay.
Like, oh yeah, I know I was going for notes. Home the other day. I don't know if there's anything.
Love looks not with the eyes, with the mind, and therefore is winged Cupid painted blind. Love looks not with the eyes, but with the mind. That is full of love. My bounty is as boundless as the sea. My bounty is as boundless as the sea. A heaven on earth I have won by wooing thee. What you got?
maybe we ought to rehearse and pick that up right there tomorrow, knowing that we're going to split that verse.
I think so. I mean, that's probably a good stopping place, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because I got a feeling that most of this is already written. It's just about
Compilation?
and then letting you freeform a little bit and see what else happens,
I think.
And then hearing it's enough to go, okay, because that's the ultimate test. Is like, does it throw forward?
Yeah,
Does
I
it
think
just keep throwing
I think there's a
forward?
couple things missing. I think there's a few things missing in the Sages part of it. I do think it's going to be real. I think that the top of that line right there does have to be a quote, like of the as soon as it breaks, like disappear into the sticks.
It's got to be like a lightning bolt of one.
Of
almost.
a quote, I think. Like,
Right.
That's why I was just looking up like what are
Yeah.
the most famous quotes.
Yeah.
Like to be or not to be is a good one.
Yeah, that might just work fine.
It needs to be something you can really hang your hat on, I think.
Yeah.
And there may need to be some finessing on the third and fourth line before that. Like I'm not sure disappear in the house on the sticks is enough, is juicy enough. It may need to be a little juicier than that. It's maybe something more about Hicks or I don't know. I'm just wondering. It may not be quite spicy enough. You want to close up shop on that for the moment.
I think we're all right. Yeah.
All right. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna just we're gonna end this writing session. We have shortened the verse on Kakalaki Crazy, and what we're gonna do is probably tomorrow, hopefully close the door on a first iteration of the verse that feeds into One at a Table for Two, which is the pre-chorus, which feeds into our chorus. So I think pretty productive day, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And I think maybe the verse out of the chorus is there. I think that might be able to where you can do the hanging on our pork pie hat, pills full of ecstasy, and an unwashed yoga mat.
Yeah.
You might be able to do that
Scene
on
change.
after the first chorus.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing: if we do that, you're going to still have to have two stanzas because I don't think you can ever feed unwashed yoga mat to One at a Table for Two.
No.
So it will have to be this would have to be the
front
top of
half.
a front half. So we'd have to stick to the same form, which I think is probably fine because I don't think there's any. I don't know that you want to rush through the song. Anyway, there's really no point. I think that's okay. It would just mean that the verses before the chorus, if we did it that way, and the verses after the chorus would have to be the same in length.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't be able to shorten because sometimes we shorten them.
Right now, we're gonna have is two of those verses in the arrangement.
Do it.
Right now, all we'll have is those two verses. So finish the back end of this one, and then
They'll have to be symmetrical though.
and we'll finish the back end of the other one.
Yeah.
That's all we got to do.
That's it.
And this thing's pretty much written. Some
Wow.
some chorus
Will that
connectors.
be enough? Will that be enough content to
Well,
justify its existence?
That's what it'll just kind of have to come down to. In it's there's no dead air in the way that it's speaking because it's all speaking. There's not like any gaps. You know what I mean? So I think my instinct was that was. Well, we'll just see tomorrow.
Yeah, your instinct was what?
That might have been hearing that One at a Table for Two that coming that fast. If it's set up and long enough for that to be effective, But we'll write it this way, and then if it's not,
Then
we'll just add a
we'll
verse.
So we would add basically 8 lines, right?
Yeah.
So right now you go 8 lines, pre-chorus,
Mm-hmm.
and after
chorus.
the chorus, 8 lines, pre-chorus, same.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if it feels rushed, then we'll go 8, so 16. We'll go
Yeah.
16 lines,
Mm-hmm.
pre-chorus.
Mm-hmm.
Probably wouldn't go to 16 the next time around.
No, just 8.
8, yeah.
Yeah,
So it's
that's
either
the
going to be
most.
8 and 8 or 16 and 8.
And that'll just be really what that comes down to is like, is it able to say what it needs to say?
I mean, a part of me thinks that you would you would want to go 16 and 8, like traditional songwriting. But I also think that nowadays I think you just don't. I'm not sure you get as much time like to say, if you're trying to really pop something out there. I mean, I'm not sure you get the same luxury that Henley got, or like I'm not sure.
All it really has to do is it just has to zing its way
to success.
Well, into that one at a table for two.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
You got two couplets
to
just
do it.
Get it loaded. You know what I mean?
I think that's the better way to do it if we can, because then you're not. I do think dragging is a dangerous game.
Oh yeah, I feel that too. I definitely feel.
I mean, once you got your audience like buying your album, I guess you could have some longer compositions for the.
That was the thing that stuck out to me about that Beatle thing. By the time they did that "Let It Be,"
yeah,
and did it that way instead of all the work they did at the studio.
Yeah,
they had the luxury of everyone's attention, and so I'm not sure how well that record, in my opinion, stands up to
which record?
The Let It Be record.
Was that one of the weaker ones?
I don't know. I just when it just starts doing that jammy play thing.
That tends to weaken.
Yeah.
I never had an interest in that record. And that one was called "Let It Be."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one sucks, doesn't it?
Yeah, and but they were able to do that as their whatever.
Yeah. Well, we shouldn't make our shit suck.
But it was interesting that like the works of theirs that I always liked were the ones that they allocated the most time to.
And do you remember which ones those were?
We can look at the period of time, but yeah, it would be Sgt. Pepper's and the White Album, and
I always liked Sgt. Pepper's best, but I'm not sure I've listened to the White Album top down, because isn't that usually people's favorite? The White.
A lot of people like that one, and Abbey Road. You know what I mean?
I liked Sgt. Pepper's because there was like a pretty some of the songs just had an incredible feeling to them, like the Day in the Life, and the production matched the feeling of the song.
Yeah.
And
I'm just pretty sure they worked in a specific way.
And they had George Martin, right?
Mm-hmm, to get that.
And wasn't he a bit of a taskmaster?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that was.
And what was his deal, George Martin? Was he was a classical guy, or what was his?
Yeah, I can't remember. He worked there at the
studio?
Label before they were there, and they did like signed comedy acts or something, made comedy records.
I'm just trying to figure out what his deal was and why he was there. I guess I'd have to read up on it.
Yeah.
But I just know that he was the producer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And isn't he the one who really forced them into that sort of high level artistry thing?
I think so.
And I also remember him reading. He was very upset they were getting high.
Yeah.
He didn't like that.
Yeah.
He was not for that.
That's good.
It didn't work. I mean, they kept doing it.
Yeah. Cost them.
It really cost a few of them. I think Paul got out. Paul's the one who was the least drug influenced. And of course, he's still around.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a.
Okay, so you feel good about it though?
Yeah, because it is that feel thing. Like, can you press play and does it keep you there the whole time? And short and sweet is better than long-winded.
Do you feel like, as far as like all the kind of the sort of the tussle we've been having, like, do you feel like today was was closer to what we need to be doing, like how we like art towards like, you know?
I mean, a lot of what you had was already there. I think it's just a matter of. I mean, you don't have to appease me. We have to kind of agree to.
I know that, but I'm just saying. Do you feel like that? Like, is this workflow? Does it feel like?
Yeah, we.
What we've done in our best, because you were bringing up like some of the stuff that worked for us, like the first volume. Does this feel similar, like right what we're doing right now?
Yeah, and as long as I think we're moving faster than we did because we know how to solve problems. Even though today was not even a full day, and you know. I just know that some of this stuff that I feel like is in a little bit of a
rut.
Well, it's in a little bit of a lull. Sometimes it was day 3 before we got this, like the traction. You know.
Oh, I see. Like a.
You know, and so there's already traction here. I think we're in good shape. But you know, we'll have to hear it and feel it go down the line and go, yep. That didn't lose me. That didn't, you know what I mean? And the real thing is you built a target where you have this rug that pulls out, and you're going, yeah, I'm this guy. I'm one at a table for two. You think, and there's this massive thing. So you have to literally say enough to justify that.
That's right.
You know what I mean? You have
That's
to
right.
set it up.
And you got to do it in a concise amount of time to not go on and on. But
Right.
you've got to get it done.
Right, but it does have to. So that'll be the thing. That'll be the thing, and it's really in those two. So there's two couplets to load that thing up for Stunner, and I'm sure it can. I sure it can. Da 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 da. That's a lot. There's a lot of words right there. Can come out, you know.
That's right.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
I feel good about it.
All right, great. So we're gonna sign out of here. This is the archive for today. If you're
Back
watching, we'll be back tomorrow. And then if you're around town, come check us out tomorrow night. We're gonna be over in East Nashville at the 5 Spot at 9 o'clock, and come by, say hello, and jam out with us.
Yeah.